There we go. Yeah, we're live. We're live early. Well, not early. It's normal. It's normal, but it's on time. It's 7:30. Who saw that one coming?
Oh, hang on.
Oh, I mean, we're still going to have tech issues until we start properly.
Hey, let's not. Hang on.
What's happening?
Okay, it's not a tech issue per se.
Oh,
All right, here we go.
Got to have the intro.
Come on.
And
Hey, it's the little kid driving the car.
it's in the passenger seat as well. So, how are you guys all going? That's to you, not the chat. That's...
The American passenger, or the New Zealand passenger.
Well, I'm trying to think. Now, that was on the New Zealand driver's side, but the American passenger side, I think.
Yeah.
But the steering wheel was on the wrong side. I'm just going to say it. It's on the wrong side. So
On the side that most people use, that's wrong.
yeah. So we're down a couple of people. And so instead of, what was that, Joe? I saw that for like a split second. I do not approve.
Now the new way it does is I turn it on, and it gives me like a wide chin for like one whole minute, and then I suddenly turn into a man.
Well, I do like that it runs a lot better on your new hardware. It runs a lot better, which is also at the same time horrible for me. If you see me and you go, oh, why is it chin looking so wide? You know what's about to happen. It's about to pop in, right?
At any given second.
Yeah. So we're down a couple of people because conflicting schedules and stuff. I think we've mentioned a little while back that Adam was not going to be here for tonight's session because he was going to be hosting a comedy special, which is incredibly awesome, down at a local comedy club. And Shannon is not here. He had something last minute, I think. So we thought instead of playing, we'll just have a bit of a chat. We've got a bunch of topics that we can chat about and just have a bit of a... We couldn't have 2 weeks without seeing you guys. I mean, the players, but also you guys, the viewers. What was that, Joe?
I should go get the Call of Cthulhu book.
Jumping right into it.
It's in the house.
It is in the house now.
At the ready.
Yeah. We'll say hi to everyone first. We've got a lot of our usuals have tuned in to say hi. So we've got Kalan Darklaw that also resubscribed as well. So thank you so much. Have we got it? Are we doing it? We're doing a little dance. Thank you so much, Kalan, for the sub. You don't have to go crazy this session.
I suppose if you gift 5 subs, you want to at least
10.
be subbed yourself, right?
10. They gifted 10 last week. Yeah, so you don't have to do that again this week because you're not going to spawn. You're not going to spawn Needle in this session. So don't worry about jumping into that.
Oh God, what are we going to do if Needle shows up? We're going to have to deal with him with just the 3 of us. It's going to be horrible.
Do you have a
no.
Oh God! And if it happens to us, it happens in real life this time, which is much worse.
Yeah. Jackalope is here and says hello. Ivo Minikowski from our Discord is in here too. Actually, most of these people are from our Discord, so welcome aboard. The other Josh Art is checking us out, saying hi. Random Origins, Carl Zone, Hoju the Elder. Welcome aboard. Wayne. Thanks for coming to say hi and checking us out on one of our kind of down weeks. And a big special hello to all of our subscribers and of course Random, just for being an amazing mod. We might be talking about spicy things at some point tonight, Random, so you might have to do some moderating.
Okay, 2 things. You didn't give them a big juicy hello, so I feel like you're slipping.
That's fair.
But second, am I crazy and I've only just gotten this, or is it not even a thing? But is Calzone a pun on calzone and I just didn't think about it this whole time? Like the food?
Please, Carl, let us know if there's a pun there that we're missing.
Am I overthinking the calzone?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's just Carl is in the zone.
Yeah, that was my initial assumption.
Yeah.
I don't know about you all, but calzone is delicious.
Carl said no, it's accidental.
So good.
Oh, okay.
Also, John, they've said glad to see you didn't dress up for this one. Just
Well, I thought maybe people would be interested in talking about costumes and stuff, so I was like, oh, I'll just wear it because
there we go. Cool.
It's a good point.
I don't know if I thought I'd give like a little backstage view as well. Normally, I have my green screen up, which is over there at the moment. So,
So you're not in the bedroom anymore. Have you? Have you not?
No, I haven't been. I haven't been in the bedroom since I had my second child.
Right. Okay.
And we moved the first child into that bedroom, and then I moved into this area, which is actually the lounge. That's the lounge behind me.
Yeah.
And this is like used to be a dining room, but we've got another room that we use as near as the dining room.
All right.
So I'm in here, and the couch behind me is like a artificial separator of the room, so my toddler knows not to come in while I'm working.
He's put on his suit for the night. Dad's off to work.
I want to know about the art in the background. What's
That's
that
a
intriguing picture?
Picture of my dog.
I thought it looked like a dog or something.
Yeah, so it's I guess there's a bunch of them, but there's websites you can submit your pet, paint them, and
yeah. Oh,
and my sisters-in-law, actually Jackalope,
the
chat, and it's awesome. We got it one Christmas. It's so good.
Is John cutting out for anyone else or just me? John, you're cutting in and out. I'm not sure what's happening there.
Because I was moving away, or was it?
No, as in like completely cutting out.
Yeah.
I might just try refreshing.
Okay, cool.
First tech issue of the night.
By the way, Calzone did mention that he did have a burger named after him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ooh.
So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
How does that happen?
Did you just make the burger yourself? That's what I want to know. Did you just,
and why didn't you get a calzone named after you? That's just wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, I've never had a calzone.
Isn't it just like a pizza folded over?
Sounds good to
Isn't
me.
that kind of what it... Now John can't hear us. Good, okay. All right. This is always good. How have you been, Dave?
Yeah, I've been okay. I've been dreading today because it's like the first day back in the office after 3 months being at home and loving home completely. And just being surrounded by people who are incredibly noisy is incredibly taxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I like my own space and just like the boss came around today, just sort of doing like the big boss came around introducing everyone. The first thing he said is, "I want to go home." She just looked at me and was like, "No, I hate it here. I want to go home." But no, it was all right. It's first day back at work kind of thing. But just tired.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm officially allowed back in the office, and I have gone in once in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
It's warm here.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have to be, then why?
Exactly.
Like, I've got the heat pump here. I've got the coffee machine here. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
That's us as
actually
well.
putting shoes on and pants, your work shoes and a shirt. It's just like, fuck, why do I wear these things? They're so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're trying to walk in your leather shoes. It's like, man, these things are really hard to walk in.
Yeah. I think everyone's now that everyone's had the opportunity to work from home. Like, I think people just want that sort of casual, comfortable feel now. Carl said that a local cafe from where he was a famous YouTuber many years ago named a burger after him.
Wow,
there's a story there. Surely you're a famous YouTuber. Throw your
how famous?
Yeah.
Throw your YouTube channel up and
That's pretty cool.
Let's take a look, and maybe not live right now in front of everyone who's watching, but we'll take a look at some point. So definitely chuck that up. And Jackalope's just linked Noblified, which is obviously a place where you can get your dog or pet painted in a noble portrait. That's kind of cool.
Fun.
I'm going to do that with Obi. That sounds freaking amazing.
Yeah. Hoju the Elder said, I couldn't go back to working at a place that doesn't have a casual dress code. Yeah. I used to do like the button-up shirt and the leather shoes and nice pants and stuff, and now I think I'm just going to like rock up with like a dad jersey and a t-shirt.
Yeah, so we have a work for your day kind of policy, which basically if you're not customer facing, you can literally wear what you like.
Right.
But because I have all the gears and stuff, I kind of refuse to go off and buy a whole new wardrobe. For workers, I have the wardrobe there, so And yeah, but I just realized how uncomfortable it is.
Yeah. How's the audio going there, John? Yeah. I don't think we heard a word you just said.
Good.
Okay. I don't know. The microphone's cutting in out, so we might have to see what is happening there.
Give us a stream of consciousness.
Yeah, tell us about D&D.
What is it?
What is
Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is a role-playing game for 4 to 7 players. Each player takes turns rolling a 20-sided dice to determine the success or failure of an action they wish to take. Will you take up the adventure?
I feel like I need
Wow.
we need to get you to do that, and I'll just put that up on it as our channel trailer.
I'm never going to be able to do that again.
It was perfect.
I was like, was it
so
off the
good.
cuff? It
Yeah.
honestly sounded like you were reading off the manual.
brilliant.
No, I've
That
just got a
sounded
script. I've just got a script up in front of me.
He's like, yeah.
I was like, someone is going to ask me one day, what it
One
is,
day.
Yeah.
and that is going to come in handy.
Yeah, you just have it on the wall just in case you forget what it is while you're playing it, and you're like, oh, right, yeah, it's right.
All right, well, let's get into. We've had a few things popped up in our private Discord, just for us players, about what we might want to talk about tonight. So there's the obvious, which I think we're just going to stay away from. I think we're going to stay. I think Shannon mentioned everyone's doing a video about it at the moment, so let's not talk about it because I think unanimously
Let's be different.
it's a all over a net benefit. So let's just not do it. And that's the whole diversity statement that WOTC released about D&D and the changes they're making. So let's not talk about it. Everyone else is talking about that. So let's talk about some other things. Now, John, you had some good things that you wanted to talk about. Was there anything on that list that you sent through that you wanted to start with? Other than maybe big food?
Big food. You got to start with the big food. You want subscribers to get maximum value. Joe had a couple as well. Should we if we just work through chronologically?
Okay.
Because Joe was first. Number one was rando spells.
Rando spells.
That was very specific.
Oh, here we go. Number one, rando spells.
Carlzone's
Carlzone's excited about big food, actually, but I don't.
I don't have
That's
any
the
big food.
That's the cliffhanger for the halfway. We take a break, and next up, big food. Do they have it? Probably not.
We'll find out.
Everyone rushes around the house trying to find some big food.
Yeah.
What we need is to. If you've got a big food at home, let us know.
Yeah, post it in the
and
Discord.
then
Big
we
food.
can, we can give you the link to Whereby, and you can come and show us your big food. But
That
but
would
we're
be
not going to
cool.
let anybody in. And I can just kick you out, or John can just kick you out straight away. But we
This
do
is
want to
going to
see.
be terrible. This is not going to work well.
I think as
Bad
guest
idea.
appearance just after the break,
appearance after the break.
bringing the break in, bringing into the break. Just as we go to break, we'll have a big food item. Welcome in.
Get your food ready. Get your big food ready because you might be chosen to show your big food.
I don't like where this is going.
That does come with some risk, but
I think
Someone
we
out
should-
there's got an eggplant to show us.
Oh, that could, yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
my goodness.
Jesus, we just get taken off Twitch straight away. Someone just trolling us. Yeah.
John's got his finger over the kick button just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
I will also qualify. I said topic big food parentheses. I don't have any.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. I don't think any of us have any big food in the house right now. But Joe, rando spells.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a random spell in mind?
I was just wondering if anyone, well, this only applies to people who have magic classes or whatever. But do you have any spells on your list that you're just like, why would I ever do this? Like, what even is this? Because I have a few like that where I'm just racking my brains and I'm just like, what even is this? So dumb.
Why don't you tell us what your ones are?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to log into flipping D&D Beyond.
Random origins straight away said like Meld Earth.
Like Mold Earth.
Mold Earth, was it?
Is it
Mold Earth.
Mold Earth, yeah. But that
Um,
proved
I
quite
have-
useful.
Yeah, that's been useful like a couple of times now.
actually-
hasn't
Mold
it?
with rules. How dare you? Top tier spell.
MVP. I have spells on my prepared list, which are prepared forever that I cannot change unless I level up. That are random
Okay.
and that very occasionally come up. But I think it's kind of nice. It's kind of when it
The
happens,
niche spell.
when the stars align
Mm.
and you can do the thing. It's just so good. It's like you creating like graves for oh god, things dead.
Yeah, I know.
And the priest's son.
Yeah.
Burgomaster and-
Yoru.
Oh my god, it's only been 1 week.
We've had, like, 1
Ismark's
week
dad,
off.
The Burgomaster.
Burgomaster and
Yeah, the
Yoru.
Burgomaster of Barovia.
Yeah.
Irina and Ismark's dad. I know who they are.
We haven't forgotten everything.
And also letting were they weren't vampires, they were like some sort of necro monster
yeah,
ghoul
those-
thing out
the
of the
wraiths.
wall as well.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a
Oh,
great
yeah.
use
Wraiths?
of Mold Earth.
No, not wraiths.
Yeah.
That was
No, they were.
They-
I think they were ghouls, maybe.
ghouls. Yeah, that's the one. They were ghouls. Ghasts. They
Yeah.
were ghasts.
Ghasts.
There you go, man. We've only been playing for like 15 weeks, and we've already forgotten a big chunk of
Ghouls and ghasts.
ghouls and ghasts. Yeah, so you've
Sorry,
actually
Joe, I
used,
Crazy ghoul.
you've used Mold Earth quite well, I think.
Yeah, that's one that I could see the use in because that's a cantrip that I have on me at all times. So I picked that one on purpose. But the rest of my spells are like just a massive list of things that I can choose to prepare on any given day, and some of them are just like, huh?
Because you get access to every spell, right?
Yeah. So I
Or
can
every
just
druid
choose a
spell.
selection of them every long rest. and
Yeah.
Go crazy.
But
But I don't like to like overly look them up and see what people have done with them to sort of pre-ruin my own creative ideas.
yeah.
So I'm sure there's like really good use of this. This is the one that's on my mind. It's called
Okay.
Meld into Stone. Sounds pretty cool, right?
Meld into stone. You just get straight into the stone.
You step into a stone object or
Oh,
surface
yeah.
or stone surface large enough to fully contain your body, melding yourself and all the equipment you carry with, melding the equipment and all the equipment you carry with the stone. So you're
Okay.
melding not just you, but everything on your person. So using your movement, you step into the stone at a point you can touch. Nothing of your presence remains visible or otherwise detectable by non-magical senses. Okay, so you're like, oh, cool, you could stealth or whatever. But read a little bit more and you're like, oh, this is bullshit. So while you're like, oh, how cool could be like melding into a stone
Yeah,
and
you could like
spying
I
on
can
people.
attack someone and then dart off and meld into stone or something, right?
So
Just
while
John
merged
Cena
with
the
the
shit out of
stone,
them.
while merged with the stone, here's the catch: you can't see what occurs outside of it, and
I mean, how
any
could you?
perception. But like,
You're in the
any
stone.
yeah, but anyway, any
Okay.
perception checks you hear to hear sounds are with disadvantage. So you basically
Because you're
in
in
a stone, but aren't able to use it, and you don't know what to know what's going on. So like you're like, what's going on? I'm dead to the world around me. This is not tactically sound in any way. All I know is that I can't see anything. Time is passing. I can barely hear anything.
You could use
what
it.
a great move.
You could use it for passing through rock walls.
Also, you can't move while you're inside the stone.
How do you get out then?
It says you can use your movement to leave the stone where you entered it. So no cool like phasing through a wall and coming out the other side. That would be too useful. You can only leave it where you entered it. And then that ends the spell, and otherwise you can't move at all.
What level spell is this?
It is a level 3 spell.
Look,
and it's shit.
I don't want to cause an alarm. I don't want to scare anybody or freak anybody out. But we do have some big food in the Discord.
Ooh.
That is bread
Oh,
against
what?
a bottle of
Amazing.
milk.
Huh?
That's
Whose big food is that?
that's a big ass bit of food. That is
And that's a 2-liter bottle of milk too.
Is it a liter
Big
or 2? I
ass.
think it's 2 liters.
No, it's 2. It's a 2-liter bottle of milk.
It is 2 liters.
Right.
That's
Jackalope, where's Jackalop's
yeah.
banana?
Oh,
A 2-liter bottle of milk.
that is
Yeah.
insane.
Wow, that is huge food.
So thank you, Jackalope.
Are we sure it's not just tiny milk?
Jackalope, do you want to come at later on tonight to show us this in person, or is it already being devoured over a lifetime? Because that is a big loaf of bread.
There's also a dog there, so you know it's not even like a tiny shop. 2-liter
Is that
bottle
a
of
dog
milk.
there as
It's
well?
yeah, just at the top of the photo.
Oh yeah.
So did you
Sniffing
say
the milk bottle.
Jackalope made this?
No, she sent that
Or is they-
through. It's
just been on the internet?
No, that's
No,
her
it's
dog.
hers.
I
It's
know
her
her
bread.
dog.
Did you
How
make
does one make it?
Did you make that bread, Jackalope, or did you purchase the bread? The dog is kind of little, yeah, but a 2-liter bottle of milk is pretty standard sized. That is
2 liters in most cases.
okay. Sorry.
By the way, 2 liters is
How many ounces? Fluid ounces.
no. It's like maybe a third of a gallon. No, it's about a half a gallon.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Okay.
How does a bread become this big?
Yeah. Well, she's
half
not
a
letting us know
gallon,
if she
half a gallon.
purchased or bought it. John, you've seen it before. You've seen this in person.
I've not seen the bread. I've seen the dog. That's how I know it's her dog, and she owned and so
you've
this
seen
must
her
be
milk
legit.
before.
I've certainly seen Meadow Fresh 2-liter original blue top
Yeah. Yeah.
in my life.
Okay. So Mel with the
Some of them have
stone.
been owned by Jackalope. Some of them
Meldon's
have been owned by other people.
Okay. Have you ever owned a
Oh.
2-liter Meadow Fresh milk bottle?
I don't touch that Meadow Fresh shit.
You heard it here first. Fuck Meadow Fresh. So yeah.
We don't
That's how
need to
you
do
burn.
hot takes. We don't need hot takes on diversity statements.
Yeah.
Fuck Meadow Fresh.
This is how we don't get
Melbourne
sponsored by
shit.
anybody.
Yeah.
Meadow Fresh will never touch us. It's
Burn
okay.
that bridge happily.
Yeah. So Joe, meld into stone. So it's just garbage. Can you
Well,
is
I
there
just
no
feel
good
like
way to use
I was
it?
trying to think of any scenario where it would be good.
It's like a complete defensive.
Other than,
last-minute
like-
strategy.
because you
Like,
can't
it's
move through something. You can only exit the way you came in.
Oh, there's actually more. Okay, yeah, you can't move through stone or do like a cool thing where you walk through a wall and no one could detect it. No, you just go in it, cannot move while you're in it, and then come out in exactly the same spot. Secondly, of course, you can't see or pretty much hear anything, so that's cool. No stealthy reconnoitering, I think is the word.
Random has asked a question. Can you grapple someone and use your movement to pull them in?
It doesn't say. There's one more bit where it says minor physical damage to the stone doesn't harm you. So it doesn't say anything about dragging anyone else, and it sounds like it only can affect you. But if they harm the stone while you're in it, it expels you and does 6d6 bludgeoning damage to you.
Right.
And if it's the stone is completely destroyed while you're in it, it expels you and deals 50 bludgeoning damage to you.
50.
So that's quite a lot.
Yeah. So Ivo has mentioned maybe hiding, escaping, preparing to avoid a spell, stuff like that. So it's kind of like.
So it's
Well, I could
Yeah,
imagine
I was-
someone like Shannon using that, like casting a spell
think
and then
about
going
it this
into the stone.
you can kind of only use it to desert your party while also robbing yourself of the ability to know what's going on in the outside world, which is quite shit, and it doesn't help anyone else as well.
Right.
And also, if you get knocked out of the stone, not only do you take all that damage, you fall prone as well.
Right. So,
So it's
you just get like
it's very
thrown up
harsh.
onto the floor, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. John.
Is it concentration?
No. But it
Okay.
lasts 8 hours. So I guess conceivably you could do a short rest that only protects you. Which again,
A long rest? That's a long rest.
I guess, yeah, a long rest that only protects you and no one else. But you also don't know what's going on outside. So if there's an ambush, you'd be probably blissfully unaware while your party is slaughtered. So again, I don't like it.
I like the idea that in a giant battle against something that's really horrendous, one person just jumps into the wall and just like every turn they're just like, I stay in there.
Yeah, they're like,
still in
I
here.
can't see anything.
I can't see anything.
I
So
think
why
I
would I
can
come
hear
out?
some sounds out there.
Yeah. Dave,
The only way you're getting me out is if you bludgeon me out.
is your mic on? Oh, there we go. We just wasn't sure if we could
it's
hear
on.
that.
Sorry.
Okay, cool. That's all right.
Right.
We just someone in the chat was just wanting to make sure. So yeah, so it does seem pretty useless.
Can someone please come up with a good way that isn't like inherently cowardly and kind of screwing the rest of your party? Because I can't think of one.
So how long? Because random is saying it lasts 8 hours.
Yeah.
So you could take a long rest in the stone.
But it doesn't
just
help
you.
anyone
Just-
else.
just
And
you.
you can't hear or see. So if they like, my point is, imagine if your draw is like, I'm out, I'm going to take a rest inside this rock, and then like monsters attack in the night, and they're just like, I can't see,
I
I
was
can
asleep.
barely hear.
Yeah, I was asleep.
What do you want from
All
me?
right.
I'm having a nice rest.
I've got it.
Okay.
I've got the answer.
Okay.
Your party is mid TPK.
Mm-hmm.
You drop to the floor. You meld into the stone beneath your feet. And you wait for them to re-roll their characters and re-arrive back at the battle that you are currently at and re-emerge.
How about this?
That is how you use that spell.
Wait.
Wait, no. I got a good one. An evil villain has been told to basically kill you, and you meld into the floor as you hear them coming around the corner. You meld into the floor until it's just your head sticking out of the floor. And they come running around the thing, and they just see your head on the ground. They're like, he's dead. Don't worry about it. He's dead.
No. Nothing of your presence remains visible.
Oh.
So you can't even do a cool thing like merging in partially. Like
Right.
that could be like quite strategic if you like wanted to have half like a hand coming out to do something or whatever. But no.
Okay, so Evo suggested you could use it to prepare an ambush and stuff like that. Oh, whose mic is going? Somebody's got a lot of static coming in from somewhere. Oh, okay, it's stopped now.
Is it me?
I don't know. Did everyone else hear that, or was that just me? Oh wow. Okay, maybe it's shit. All right. It's probably just me then, I guess. Yes.
Hoju says you can meld and do a Han Solo impersonation.
That's the best
That's
use
pretty
of
good.
it so far.
But that
You could
means
cosplay as a character no one's heard of in that world, but still the best use of it.
But that means you'd have to find a rock that already looks like you. Like,
Yeah, because you
you'd have
can't.
to-
You don't
you'd
actually
have to
remain
carve-
visible.
You'd have to carve the rock into a perfect replica of yourself, and then sort of back perfectly into the right spot.
Come on, we can flavor the spells a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to say also, no, not good for an ambush. Because what good is lying
Sorry,
in
that's where
wait?
we were. Yeah.
What good is lying in wait if you cannot see and you
Can't
can't
see.
even barely hear because you have disadvantage on
Disadvantage on
any
rolls.
perception checks to hear. So that's not a very effective ambush if you actually are not aware when the person you're trying to ambush is coming. It's such a crap spell. I'm so livid about how crap the spell is. What is the use of the spell? Someone tell me one valid use for the spell.
Well, hiding.
I would say it's
Hiding.
not a good spell.
I mean, surely. So
John,
what?
perception isn't disastrous. It just means it's difficult.
All right.
Yeah, so it just gives you disadvantage, but it's just like
You could roll a 20 and a 22 on a disadvantage roll.
I mean, you could, but it's quite crap that it makes it very difficult to begin with.
the level 3 spell.
Yeah,
does
with the
it-
level
does it-
3 spell, and you still aren't given that you could even hear things
So,
outside the stone.
I think. So I'm taking a look at things. As someone's saying, it's a really good way just to get out of combat so you can heal yourself and then jump back into combat.
But I don't know.
But how can you heal yourself if you... Can you
I
cast
think
spells
you-
while you're in there?
I guess. So,
I guess
yeah.
Like,
you
you
must be able to.
You wouldn't be able to
Oh,
use
yeah, it
any
does.
verbal.
Uh,
Sorry?
It says you can cast spells on yourself while merged in the
Yeah.
stone. So that's pretty much the
Oh,
only
interesting.
use of it, I guess, to like hide in the middle of battle. But still, I mean, taking a
Yeah.
whole turn and a level 3 spell slot is a lot. Just to be able to, I don't know, buff yourself or heal someone or
Here's
something.
a very good one. Meld into like a big boulder, and then catapult yourself into things.
No, because if the stone is destroyed, you take 50
get take
D10 or
50
whatever it
points
was.
Yeah, you could do it like a kamikaze. You'd be like,
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
me by doing this. That would be a good way to go out.
If
Pretty
you
great way to go.
if you live in the world of Asterix, you meld into a monolith, get Obelix, and you are a Roman emperor.
A menhir, isn't that what they call it?
A menhir, sorry. A menhir. Menhir?
I don't know.
Get Obelix to take you back into Gaul, into the town, and ambush them.
Why would?
The Trojan menhir.
Trojan
Trojan
horse.
menhir.
But you just said if you were a Roman and you got Obelix to carry you, why would Obelix carry you back to Gaul?
Because he
You're a
doesn't know
menhir.
you're in the menhir.
Oh, he's not in on it. I was like, why would he be in on this?
Because he's a traitor.
He's just grabbing all the menhirs.
Right.
He loves them. It's what he does.
I-
As a kid,
Smartest
I
thing.
always just assumed he just had one favorite one.
I didn't really get it. I was like,
I just
what
thought he
even
just
is
had
it?
one favorite one, and he'd
That
throw it.
makes so much sense.
He'd throw it, and it would crush like the Romans, and then he'd just go and get it again. It was his favorite. In my head, it was like
Well-
him and his one favorite.
Really quite
But is,
adorable.
how good
but-
is Asterix?
Yeah.
Love Asterix.
Have you seen the more recent animated, the CG ones? Movies? They're amazing. They are so well made.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah, well worth a watch. If you even remotely like Asterix, hunt them down.
Asterix is not on the list, so we won't talk about it.
Right, sorry, yeah. I don't know what I was thinking, sorry.
How dare you?
Okay, look, we've got breaking news.
We've roasted.
We've got
Oh,
more breaking news. The big bread was a fake. It was a cushion.
Oh, this is terrible news.
I don't know if I can go on with the show tonight, guys.
How could you
My God.
sing?
But at the same time, how could a bread have been that big?
I
was
really
dubious.
wanted that bread to be that big.
I was so ready.
Imagine the oven that
Heartbroken.
made that bread.
Exactly. That's what my question was. I was like, this could not have been made at home. It's just simply too large.
Yeah, I thought
so
it was just a
therefore they
block
would have had
bread.
to have bought it at a massive novelty bread store.
which, as we all know, there's plenty of. Heaps of them out there.
Why aren't there more novelty bread stores? Everyone loves bread.
Everyone loves it. Well, this isn't France,
Bread?
okay?
Yeah.
You can't just go get yourself a nice French baguette.
You can at every
Not
supermarket.
a French
Yeah.
one. You can get a New Zealand one, can't you?
Okay. Fair point.
Were there any other random spells?
Skeptical. He's like,
No, that's a technicality. They
It is a
make them the same way. Just because it's not a French person making it, they make them the same way.
some of them might even be French people.
That's true. Still, by the way, still waiting on someone to find me something good to do with meld into stone.
Well, I don't think.
I feel like I
anybody-
have roasted it so thoroughly it can never be recovered from that.
Nobody in the chat had any good suggestions. Well, no, I'm saying
'Cause-
not
Games,
any good. They were
they're
all
all-
the ones that we've mentioned and we've sort of said no. But
Because something occurred to me, like, because it was like, oh, you can cast spells. Oh, imagine hiding in a rock, but then just like healing all your party members and stuff, and no one can find you. Oh no, wait, you can't see them and barely hear them. So how could you heal them?
Okay, I've got a question for you, Joe, to hopefully round out the.
okay,
The rage.
your microphone's
Uh
gone
oh.
again, mate.
He's
John.
gone.
No,
Okay.
it's just coming and going. I don't know if it's an internet connection thing or
Annoying.
it is annoying. It works most of the time. Just try again.
The meld into stone challenge. Bring that spell every time until you use it.
I was complaining to Reagan the other day about how a lot of my buff spells, like, it just doesn't feel worth it to cast them once you're in battle, because it takes your whole turn. Unless you've casted them before battle, it wastes like something you could have done something actually useful on most of the time.
I have a question. I've got a question for Meld into Stone. Does it state in the description for it that the stone you meld into has to be your size or bigger?
Yes, it has to be large enough to fully contain your body.
I was like getting into like a little
To a
stone
pebble.
or something.
Can't merge into a pebble.
It's just so crap. It's just so crap. Only good for lonely druids who have no friends to rely on or protect.
So maybe it's
the
a good
loneliest
spell.
druid spell.
It's a really, really good spell if you're not adventuring with others. There you go. It's very, very good for just lone adventuring.
You'd happily go to sleep in the stone every night. You don't have to hear anything because there's no friends to hear.
Oh, no friends, just silence.
Oh, brilliant.
Were there any other random spells, or has anyone in the chat got that plays
That's the
D&D
one I
and
have the biggest beef of all
spell?
time with.
That's a
I'm
pretty
sure I can find
Barkskin?
more.
Barkskin? Barkskin's pretty good, right? No?
After level 2, it's just garbage.
There's a lot of those kind of spells that are really good at low level and sometimes even quite like almost overpowered at low level. But when you start dealing in the later levels or even where we are right now, they kind of just don't do much. I think John...
Barkskin...
Oh, so carry on. Your mic's disappearing as well. What is happening? Is it something on my side? Something's going on.
But anyway, Barkskin, it takes your AC up to 16, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and by level 2 or 3, most people's ACs are higher than that.
Not true.
Without even thinking about
That's true if you're a barbarian.
Yeah. Not so much if you're Shannon as the wizard.
Here's the thing. Using a whole turn in battle, and by the time you're level 3, only your like squishy people, it's only going to help them, and they're usually trying to not get hit anyway.
But
so
even Shannon's AC at the moment, he's like on 17, and then he's got that with this because he's got glass staff.
That's with mage armor on.
Shield and all.
Yeah.
So it loses its efficacy pretty fast. It's also a concentration spell, so it means you can't do any other cool stuff while you're doing it. Most of my cool spells are concentration, so you have to be like quite choosy with what you want to do. Because otherwise it'll just wear off as soon as you do something else, and you've just wasted a spell slot. The only thing this could probably be like good for putting on yourself before you turn into an animal, but it uses a whole turn, and then turning into an animal uses a whole turn, and it's like so there's no room.
You're ready
the battle's
to rumble.
over.
It's almost
ready
like
to rumble, and then everybody's killed everybody else.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's almost like you need to like Shannon does this when he goes into a new area that he thinks is going to be troubling. He'll just activate mage armor before there's any combat, and he just knows it's on. And that's the kind of thing where you're like, okay, we're going into somewhere I've got a bad feeling about this place, and you just tap Ismark or Irina on the shoulder, and now they have Barkskin.
Yeah, but it's hard to spend a spell on something that may or may not be helpful.
And just talking about the whole low level spells that work really well at low level, then not so much as you progress. John, like you used to use sleep all the time, and it was super effective because everyone had low HP, and now you're up against things that have quite high HP. In a group, you might be lucky to get one, if any. Now,
like key conditions sleep are a single target.
I don't know what is happening with your mic. I don't know, Joe, have you heard Dave's mic doing the same thing as well? What are you guys in, Firefox or Chrome, or what are you guys in tonight?
Everything that John said.
You heard everything. Me and Joe didn't, so this is very interesting. Whereby,
is that any better?
Well, I don't know if Dave is hearing what you're saying, but me and Joe are not.
Why? What about the viewers? Are they hearing everything?
Well, they hear what I hear. I'm just going to do a quick refresh. Sorry, guys. We're just going to do a little refresh.
I'm gonna do the same.
So I've done a refresh. Hopefully that helps. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Now. So
I don't think it's my actual microphone. I think it's probably a whereby thing.
okay. It doesn't sound like you're using your main microphone now. Anyway, it's all kind of hollow. I didn't hear that either. This is not good. And now Joe, I can't even see you. This is amazing. I feel like
so good.
I feel like our tech issues every week.
They're so creative. Now it's telling me Cam and Mike are blocked, so that's great. Thank you, Firefox.
Okay, is that any better?
I mean, I can hear you, but I don't know if it's your main microphone anymore.
No, it's this one.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes.
I don't think it's the device. I think it's whereby,
Right.
which is our video conferencing software. I don't even remember what I was saying.
We were talking about the sleep spell and using it.
Oh,
its
yeah.
kind of purpose.
I think what you need is a single target, so you can focus the HP damage. It's not really damage, but you can focus down the HP and ideally low level.
Yeah.
So that you kind of make sure that they go to sleep. It did work really well on a bunch of super low HP sturgeons who happened to be in the air.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Sturges, sorry, not sturgeon. That's an actual.
That's a fish.
That's a fish. A fish, mammal.
Sturgeon? Sturgeon's a fish, right?
Yeah.
God,
What have I just come into? How did we get to fish?
Make food.
Yeah, that was in the Wave Echo cave during our Lost Mine and Found Alva playthrough. And yeah, you're right. It was they were incredibly low level, and you just cast them while they were 20 foot up, and they just fell asleep, dropped 20 foot. They get 2d6 for falling that distance, and it pretty much just killed them all completely.
Yeah, that was a brilliant use of sleep.
Yeah, amazing. So here's a question. What's the most powerful sleep spell you can do now? Like if you maxed your level, is it a level 3, right?
Yeah, it's 3rd level. Should I give up the ghost here and say I don't currently have sleep?
Oh, okay.
I got rid of it because I was sick of it.
Well, because what I wanted, let's have a look and
because
see.
it was underpowered now. No, just kidding.
That's-
It was mostly because I was like I kept on. What I found was I kept on getting into a situation where I was like, you know what, spell will be really great here. The same spell I did last time.
Yeah, dude.
And
I know
I was
that
like, that's
feeling.
boring.
Yeah.
I wanted to play a caster so I could do some different stuff. And then so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to commit to the bit, get rid of it. I finished the cheese song, so I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to use it anymore. So it's not on my spell list and hasn't been for 2 levels, I think.
Right. Okay. Well,
Wow.
so the sleep spell's 5d8 and an extra 2d8 for every level above. So if you did that at 3rd level, it would have been 9d8. And I can tell you that a perfect roll wouldn't have made any of those hags fall asleep.
Oh my.
Whoa.
So
Because
yeah.
it knocks
Wow.
out the ones with the lowest HP first, eh? Is
Even
that
if,
right?
Yeah, that's right. The lowest HP first.
In the area.
Wow.
In the
So
area,
it also
Right.
it also counts friendly people in that area too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it probably would have
that-
knocked me out on 10 HP.
Yeah.
The friendly
Yeah.
fire thing is that's such
Depending on when
a
you cast it.
challenge.
You guys have been caught up by the whole friendly fire thing
Oh,
so
man, it's
many
so
times now.
hard.
It's fantastic.
So hard.
From
Most-
a DM's point of view,
It's
yeah.
really frustrating for me because my class is basically mostly area of effect spells.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
if people run into an area, I'm like, can't really do any of those now. You know,
Is
like
that-
most of the time.
I saw on Facebook this it's a really there's those guys that do those little clips and videos of D&D type events, and they did one on like there's basically like about casting areas of spell or area of effect spells like blindness and bright lights. So they've got this troll in front of them. They've got 1 fighter and 3 magic users, and the fighter goes, right guys, we're going to go on an attack, follow my lead, please don't cast bright lights, color, or all the ones that would blind you. He charges in, and they just go bang, 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 and he's just like completely blinded. It's just like, yep, know that feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
charge in, can't see, and they stop casting. They've killed the troll, and he's hacking at a tree.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's hilarious,
Nice.
but it's like,
Yeah.
so real. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Joe, Furry Blue Elf in the chat said he thinks what this is highlighting is your evolution into a power gamer in regards to D&D.
I'm just the saltiest person alive that just loves roasting bad concepts. I'm addicted to it.
But also, 100% you've become a D&D power gamer.
I'm
for
definitely
sure.
not. I wouldn't say a power gaming, but I do like to play in a way that does something useful for the party. Yes.
Yeah, you're not a min-maxer. I don't think he's saying like you're a min-maxer.
I'm a
but-
min-maxer. I'm totally the min-maxer. I love going out and looking at what can happen. You're looking at what you can do to be the most helpful possible.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
a really
I
good
admit
segue.
it. I want to be good at the game. I'm
This
not
is-
here to. I'm not here to lose D&D.
Yeah, I think this is a really good segue into one of John's points, actually, which was RP-style games versus combat-heavy games. Let's talk about that. So I know. How do we all feel that we enjoy first? I think might be the way to start this, John.
Can I go first?
Yeah. We would let you go first if your microphone was going, but it's not at all from. No.
Yep. It's you two.
I honestly thought you were doing a bit.
So Dave, you heard
I heard him.
everything that he said, but Joe,
Yeah,
you couldn't hear. No, but he said
Exactly what he said.
He said stuff before that.
Yeah. He was like, "I'll go first," and then he started talking. And then you piped in, going, "I can't hear you."
Okay, I didn't. But it's gone back to your main mic. When it was the mic up here, we could hear you fine.
No.
Put it on this mic.
Yeah, it's up there now. It was back on this.
Ditch this.
Okay.
So I, by
Fold it away.
nature, and I find this really hard, by nature, I'm a massive min-maxer.
Really?
Literally every game I play is go and look up guides on what the most efficient way of doing things is. Like 100%. D&D that's not the most fun way. That I think that extends to almost every other game, like certainly video games for me. So I think with D&D I try to like challenge myself to classes and do things that are more or more support the party, like Joe was saying, and that was the reason why I chose a bard this time, was like heal people when they can cast spells that help people and that sort of thing. So on trying to do that and get enjoyment out of that instead of like playing to my normal type. It's super fun. It's been like so much more fun than I thought I would have.
I'm actually quite surprised by that because I feel like you really get into the RP side of it.
I really do get into the RP side of it, but you've played Monster Hunter with me, Reagan.
Yes,
Like-
I hated it.
You're like, why are we doing different monsters? You need this gear.
Yeah.
We need to kill Rathalos another 6 times so that you have that gear, and then we can go kill this other monster. And you're like, man, I just want to like kill interesting monsters.
I just want to go through the first quest and then do the second quest and then the third quest. And you guys are like, you only have to do quest 8, 15, 23, and then by that point we just farm one monster for 4 hours. And I'm just like, no, I'm out. I'm tapping out. I can't do it.
Oh no.
I'm like a massive min-maxer, and my first, certainly my first character, definitely shades of in my second character, and then I think I've slowly been in sort of rehab since then. D&D, and I think I'm getting better. I think I'm like, I don't know what made me think to do that. I guess I just thought it was interesting. But like when I play a game, I still really massively love to min-max, and I think like I guess it's like efficient use of time
Right.
It's a bit of a false economy because you're playing a game to enjoy it. You're not playing a game to to shortest period of time, but that's just like a mentality, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is if you've got a group of min-maxers, right? Everybody in your group is doing min-maxing, and your DM running the session, if they don't scale everything, everything's just going to be over in a heartbeat. You're going to have these things just done.
But is that not what the min-maxer wants?
That's what I don't know.
That's not what I would want.
Do they want it to be over in one round, or do they want to feel like it's a tense battle?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because a group of min-maxers is probably not going to have a tense battle without the DM doing some scaling.
I'll tell you.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'll tell you how I would feel. Finishing something without challenge is not even worth finishing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Don't even bother. But what I would say is, you, like, for me at least, I don't know how other people feel, but for me, I'm trying to do that so I can get to the most challenging thing possible in a game.
The boss fight.
And D&D is infinitely scalable. Like, you can easily make a monster where it's not even, you have no chance of winning, right?
I could make a goblin TPK you guys if I wanted to rank it up. I just want to interrupt you just for a little bit, John. We had someone by the name of the Foolish Fool that has come in and has subscribed to us. He's also got this to say. He said, "Hey guys, I've been a fan of you for a little while now. I found you through YouTube. Just wanted to thank you for keeping me positive through this whole pandemic. You guys are amazing. I can't believe they get to catch us live for the first time." So, Foolish Fool, thank you for thanks for watching us on YouTube, and I'm glad that we're being able to help you out through this horrible time for a lot of people. But you subscribe, so you get a little bit of this. You get a little bit of this. You get a little bit
Well,
of
that's
this.
a sensual one.
Oh, a slow and essential one for it's because you gave us that.
And then fast.
And then a real quick one, a couple of times. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you. And hey, I'm glad that we were able to be a part of your day while you're going through this. Because I know some countries are getting this a lot worse than others. So, lots of love from us for whatever you guys are going through on your part of the world. And thank you again for the subscription and for checking us out on YouTube as well. Thank you. John, sorry, carry on. Sorry, I interrupted you there for a little bit.
I feel like anything I say is just kind of meaningless now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So I think, like, that was a really big
What do you mean
thing.
now?
The DM comes back fighting.
Zing! Well,
So we're talking about scaling.
I guess the idea, like, when you're maybe the overarching principle, and I've never made a game. Reagan, you've made games, so maybe you have a deeper insight than I do. But the overarching principle with a lot of games when you're min-maxing is that at the top, like at the most difficult content, that is balanced against what the player can actually do. This is the can a player actually do this thing? Can they actually beat this challenge? And so I guess, like, in video games at least, often I'm trying to get to that challenge as a kind of trivial with the right gear or experience or level or whatever. But you can't really do that in D&D because the DM can just decide that this thing is, like, way more powerful than you. And so I think that's quite... And Max, I think that's quite freeing, and it means that I have to think about the game in a different way than what I'm used to, and I think that's how I get the most enjoyment out of it. It's like, and I think this probably came from my experience DMing. I was like, well, I can just make it arbitrarily difficult for people.
Yeah. Here's a question then, John. When you play a video game, do you just chuck it up to the hardest difficulty?
Often, yeah.
Okay.
Often I do.
Because I don't. I'm in it to, frustration is the last thing I want to feel when I play a video game. Monster Hunter is, like, the only game that I've probably ever played where that frustration leads to some of the highest highs. Like, that game is this beautiful, like, ebb and flow of, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat this monster, to I can't believe I beat that monster. So it's just like that high of, I can't believe I beat it. Then you, as soon as you come up with the next one, it's like, there's no way I'm going to beat this. And it's just that constant going back and forth that I love. But the last thing I want to do is just kit myself up with the biggest gear so I don't get that anymore.
Well,
because I know that some we're getting a little bit off D&D now, but like when I was playing with you and the group of people we were playing with, it was less about that, oh my god, is this going to be possible, and more about how can we beat the shit out of this thing the fastest we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Motivations are just different, right?
Yeah.
But I'll bring it back to RP versus power gaming or min-maxing. And I think, like, I've found, because I've kind of branched out for me, and tried to play more of a supporting role, tried to be more involved, I actually get like heaps of enjoyment out of and doing things that are knowing that you're doing the optimal thing.
yeah, right.
You're cutting out quite a lot.
Yeah, you're still doing a lot of cutting out.
Stop talking because it's time for somebody else to take over.
sorry, John.
Reagan's actually secretly controlling it. He's like, I've had enough.
Just like turning this dial down.
It's like the internet equivalent of the cane.
Yeah, or playing you off at the Academy Awards or something.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, John, I think you're going through a tunnel. You're breaking up. Oh, wait, you have to go to someone else.
The music's starting. It's time to get off the stage.
Have you ever seen where that happens and they're like, no, please, and then they like, ugh, it's so gross. They like beg them to stop playing, and then the microphone like goes back up, and they stop playing. And they're okay. I've got more things to say, and then like the music starts playing again. The microphones go, and they're like, please no more. It's like, oh my god, have some dignity.
It's so embarrassing. It's not like that's your only stage.
Yeah.
I'd like to nominate Dave to go next.
Yeah, Dave. Roleplay style D&D versus min-max style D&D.
I guess starting off, I find the roleplay difficult. And
My God, your audio's going as well. This is John. When Dave's talking, are you hearing him, or is he cutting out for you as well? So I don't know what's happening.
Hear him perfectly.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. It's definitely on our side then, I guess, if both Joe and I can't hear.
I could hear him that time, I thought.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I can do about this. I wonder if I can.
Has everyone got whereby on the old mode, classic mode, or whatever it is?
What I'm going to try is I'm going to try and open up in Google Chrome and see what I can do there. Sorry for the inconvenience, everybody, but we'll get this sorted pretty soon.
Oh, well, at least I could hear most of what John was saying. It just was sort of cutting out at the start of his sentences.
Right.
have I got to switch back? It's in settings somewhere.
It's in settings somewhere. I can't even find it. I don't even know.
It's gone.
It's gone forever. Oh, is it under
Oh.
advanced? Oh, it's under advanced mobile mode. I'm gonna turn that on. Why not? BRB.
Sorry for this, everybody. I'm not sure why we're having so many issues tonight. Is there... What's this mobile mode? Just for that... We'll give that a try.
In
rough.
what? Old.
All right,
old mode.
It's mobile mode.
I've chucked on mobile mode as
I don't
well.
know
And
if
let's
it's
see how
Is
this
mobile
goes.
mode old mode?
I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
I think so.
It just limits the amount of data it sends or whatever.
Yeah. All I'm hearing is occasionally, every now and then, just like a real, like a hiss.
Right?
Like there's a hissing sound coming from someone's
Now
mic.
I can't hear
Can't
Reagan.
hear you, Reagan.
You
No,
guys can't
Reagan,
hear
what are
me
you
now.
doing? We can't hear you.
Why?
Where have you gone?
How about now?
Yay!
All I'm hearing sometimes is just like static coming from someone's microphone, and it cuts out both Dave and John at the same time, but I'm not sure why.
Oh my god.
Weird.
But anyway, let's try again. Dave,
Yeah.
talk
So
to
I
us.
guess, yeah, okay. First up, roleplay, I find difficult. Yeah, I'd like to be better at it. And I probably, if I hadn't chosen to play a character that suits min-maxing so well, I probably would have done better. So I kind of regret choosing to be the tank in the group. I wish I'd gone with like a mage or something that required me to be a bit more thoughtful about what I do. But yeah, so I sort of look at the two characters that I played in the time we've been doing this with Alst and Loris. Alst, he was my first character that I played with for a while, but I feel he kind of got to that almost that min-max sort of scenario where he was the best at what he could be. I don't know. So I don't know what kind of player I am and what kind of. I know I find roleplay difficult, and I would like to be better at it.
Right.
But I think I should be. I think I need to select the character that's more in tuned to doing it. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like what John said, picking a character that requires a bit more effort rather than just going, I smash this because I can. Which is what I've found with Loris. Like it's really easy for me to walk into a room and smash it, but actually trying not to do that all the time. So it's sort of a balancing thing, and you guys know I've struggled with it.
Well, I mean, it's not easy. Like it's not easy. It's not something. This is like it's the same as telling someone just put on a voice. Like that's not for everyone either. That's not something that a lot of people enjoy doing, or especially for the fact that we're streaming and we have people watching. If we were just sitting at a table by ourselves, I feel like it would be a lot better. It'd be a lot more natural for people to do that. What do we got here?
Have you seen?
Yes.
That is Smiley. That is awesome.
Yeah,
that is so freaking amazing.
Reese has been sending me through some versions of everyone's miniatures as he's been painting them. So, but I'm trying to hold off showing them all at once until we get them all together. So not so much the roleplay, but because you've talked about Valmop, your wizard character that you used in the text D&D.
And I love, as much as it was only a text D&D, so I find the text stuff was a bit more freeing because you can kind of think about what you're doing. You're not reacting to a situation immediately. You've got a time to go, how would I do this? What would I do? And you can kind of go up and look up something. You're not required to sort of act straight away. But I think with Valmop, because I put him into the very structured, he's an illusionist. He's essentially, that's where I'm going to put all his spells. It made me think about what I was going to do with them.
Yeah.
So
illusions, Michael. Illusions, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine. It's an Arrested Development reference.
Yeah. That's all right.
I kind of.
I got it.
I know what you're referring
to,
as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally get that, and I think the same again. I think there's something about the fact that because we're streaming, and because we're aware that people are watching and being entertained by what we're doing, there's almost an unspoken pressure to think fast.
Yeah. Because if you're delaying things, you've got 20, 30 people sitting there just waiting for you, waiting for you to do something.
And it could be the moment. I don't know about you guys, but for me, the pressure is there that that moment of silence could be the moment where someone's like, oh, that's boring. They could just turn onto our channel just as we've got our big moment of silence. And people are like, what are these guys doing? And just turn off.
I can't say that's front of mind all the time, but I guess it sits there in your background. I've not really thought about it actively, but yeah, that it's obviously there. So you kind of feel like you need to keep the pace going. Yeah.
Well, the Foolish Fool is surprised. He says, really? I always thought Loris is a really good character and a very well role played. So what do you think of that? What do you think of that?
Thanks. I go, no, see?
Yeah. Okay, yeah,
appreciate
cool.
it. Yeah,
oh, you've made him blush, Foolish Fool. Come on. He's blushing.
No, that's just the shirt, Reagan.
Oh, right. A very good shirt at that as well.
Love it. It's really comfortable too.
It's good. It's an awesome
I do really like that color. It looks great.
Yeah. For those who are watching it that might not be able to see that, it is the roll call shirt, which is for season 2, which is the people, the characters all running away from a flock of bats, done by Joe, which looks amazing. Joe, what about your thoughts? Roleplay versus min-max gameplay.
As always, I have a hot take. They need not be mutually exclusive.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because, I mean, if you're role-playing a smart person, of course they're going to specialize their skills at doing what they're naturally good at.
Mm.
So, I mean, why would you play a strong dwarf that decides to try and do the opposite of what he's naturally been gifted with? You wouldn't. Well, you could. I mean, you can, and if you think that's cool. But I mean, that's kind of part of the logical. If you followed like a logical character creation process, you'd give them skills that would be appropriate to their background and what they know. So, I mean, you don't want to play unless you want to deliberately play an incompetent hero. And I also think because it's a cooperative game, you're just going to annoy everyone if you're like, oh, I'm just going to do the dumb, useless thing that never works again. And everyone be like, cool, thanks for playing. Like, you know, like unless it's actually hilarious or like, no, works in a sense.
But you don't play
kind
min-max.
of just. I mean, there's like levels of. I'm saying like most people are going to want to play optimally so that you're actually a good team player and your character actually makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that min-maxing though. That's just creating an accurately flavored character.
What is the definition of min-maxing though? It's like
min-maxing.
Is it going to the extreme? I guess is that what we're saying?
That's the very definition. Is like the max damage with the minimum amount of like actions, right?
Yeah.
That's
Okay. In that case, I probably am. I'm not that because I'd rather do a variety of things. And fail sometimes than just do the same thing I've worked out every single time and go, oh, this is my best spell, I do that.
Yeah.
So in that sense, no. I guess I'm an optimizer then.
Yeah.
One interesting thing I came across on the internet was people who were trying to min-max but not for, say, damage. Like, people who are trying to work out how can I be the best at skills.
Right.
So, like deception and perception and like use of thieves tools and all that sort of stuff, like people trying to really hard to understand all of the rules and making the optimal choices to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of an interesting way of min-maxing because it's not like let's be realistic, like most of the game is not actually played in combat. Most of the game is played around combat. They always talk about the 3 pillars of like social, exploration, and combat, and most of the game is like in the social and exploration side. So skills are actually like if you're a true min-maxer, in my opinion, you would be trying to min-max the skills because there's a more useful more of the time. And obviously your campaign may vary, but and you may be pretty useless in combat, but that's quite a reasonable approach to help your party or to be the best like contributor.
Yeah, I read an article about min-maxing to get like the highest initiative, so this person could always go first no matter what they rolled. They knew that they'd be adding plus 16 onto any roll basically.
Wow, damn. Because there's a feat that you can take that
there's a
gives
bunch
you,
of
it's like
things.
alert or something, and I saw that and I was like, man, if you're a bit of like a limelight hogger, you definitely want that because you'd be like, I get to move before everyone else all the time.
But I mean, it was this article was all about serving that purpose of not going first for the sake of going first, but going first because like you had the things also to make sure that you could jump in and stop major damage or get in there and put a stop to certain things before they could occur, I guess. We had Notches in the chat said they stopped min-maxing because it starts basically an arms race against the environment that the DM has to provide, which I totally agree with that. I think if you were playing with a group of min-maxing people, your prep time will have to go into making sure those people aren't left bored. Like I said, I think that it still needs to be some kind of challenge to make sure that min-maxing that they've done feels satisfying. Because min-maxing and just being like, oh, that one shot kills them, it might have because you did 40 damage against a thing with 36 HP, but it was meant to be like a relatively important mid-fight. Suddenly just feels like nothing. And then Sorrow's Tale mentioned that they've been playing since the 70s, and the definition of min-maxing has changed over the years. So that's also, I'd be keen to learn a bit more about that as well. Joe?
I was going to say, also not even just the challenge level for the party. Like, imagine just being a person out to have a good time and be like, oh, I made this fun character. And then you've got this one person in your party that just runs in first into every battle, does all the damage, and then the other player's just like, cool, that guy did the thing again. I guess one day I'll have a turn. Maybe my character will do something fun one time.
Yeah,
maybe.
and then
Like, that would suck.
Yeah, and that the person that's missing out is probably also the character that if they do get it like a high initiative, they spend that first turn doing like a cool like buff, and then they never actually get to see the benefits of that buff. Which
or worse, maybe the min-max is like, okay, do this for my character and I'll clean up everything for you.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Totally agree. I'm pretty keen to hear a bit more from Sorrow's Tale if they wanted to sort of delve into a bit more about that min-maxing. Just to go back as well, Sorrow's Tale mentioned that their viewers dropped when they got to a change of scene. Sorry, that just disappeared. With a minute or two of dead air. So this is just going back to what we were saying before. We used to take a 5 to 10 minute break, our usual 5 to 10 minute break, but we would throw up a be back soon screen. And the reason we don't do that anymore is that people would just turn off. That was it. That was their sign just to turn off. So we now just stick around and we have a chat to people during our break, and we normally keep the viewers now, which is great. Because no one wants to just sit there and look at a blank screen for an indefinite amount of time. Here we go. Sorry.
Alone with your thoughts. Oh,
yeah,
no,
and chat. Ugh, no, it's good.
Interesting take from Sorrow's Tale on passive perception.
Yeah.
I actually massively disagree. But so Sorrow's Tale verbatim, passive perception sucks as a concept. When I'm writing a scenario, I would automatically know which of my characters would succeed on a passive check, such as passing a secret door. That's awful, terrible rule. Instead, I roll a passive perception on a d20, adding their bonus.
So John, you disagree. I actually agree with Sorrow's Tale on this, and the reason I agree is because if you guys are all traveling as a group, Mirakin's always got the highest passive perception. So what? She always notices everything, and no one else gets that joy.
Yeah, because she's good at stuff.
Always.
She's good. That's a thing she's good at.
Never
she's distracted.
Her character, though, right? Yeah, especially
that's part of being perceptive, right?
When she's wandering through particular environments, she's aware or she's in tune. She can be distracted because her passive perception is that she's in tune with the environment.
Here's my.
I could go either way on that.
Yeah.
Here's my take on it. I think there should be more passive things.
More passive.
I think you should have to roll for less things, because I think you should have passive intelligence. You already kind of have passive athletics and the fact that you can jump a certain amount of distance without having to check. I think there should be more things where you're like, you know what, you are a heroic character who has specialized in a thing, and you don't have to roll for this. You're good. I think
you're
level 6.
I think this is John wanting to min-max and reduce the amount of possible failures.
No, because I'm really bad at a whole bunch of stuff, but I think the things that your character is good at, and like let me give you an example that's not Bill, right? So Baron. So Baron is trying to understand some arcane sigil. Let's say in this land it's of medium to high difficulty.
Sure.
What are the chances that he doesn't know that? Like he like, I guess maybe medium to high you would give him to roll, but low to medium, as someone who's spent their life studying something, it's probably pretty likely that they know, right?
I think if he's got like bonuses that are more than a +5, then sure, don't roll for an easy. But like if you're going for a medium, if you have to roll 10 or higher and you've got a bonus of 8 +8, right? There is still a 10th of a chance that by chance you just don't do it because you've rolled a 1 or a 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's,
so I think it's good to roll.
I think it's accurate.
Because people like rolling. I don't know. I like rolling. I like see like that. My character's like guiding horses, and I'm like, oh, look at my cool, sweet modifier for animal handling. I really want to roll for it and see if I can get like 23. I'll be the cock of the walk with my and then like you roll a 3. But the point is, you got to roll.
I always thought D&D is just all about rolling dice. I thought like the whole point of D&D was to just have fun rolling dice, and it's I guess the same argument would be well, if I'm within 5 feet of someone with a sword, would I really miss? Should I really have to roll that? I've got like plus 12 strength. Why should I roll?
Depends on what armor they're wearing, right?
But you know what I mean? You still have to roll
Yeah.
because it might glance off their armor. You might be distracted by a glint
It
of
might
light.
turn to the thick bit of their
Yeah,
armor at
yeah.
the last second.
So Sorrow's Tale said even a monkey can play a tune on a xylophone, and Einstein would fail to figure something simple out. Maybe if they were too busy thinking about something else.
I tell you what I do love. I do love where you manage to find a gap in all of our skills. None of us have got like a thing for it, and somebody rolls and they crit succeed.
I love
I'm
it.
like, so good. We're like all so bad at this thing, and then by the chance of their dice.
Okay, well, so that's another
Massively.
good point. Let's say you're like, well, my guy is super charismatic. Why should I have to roll on this simple charisma roll, right? Because you might hit a crit 20, and you might do something even bigger and better and more amazing than just convincing the person to let you past.
Yeah, I can see that argument. I just think
Or you might roll a 1 and shit your pants while trying to convince him.
I like the randomness. That
Yeah,
it
yeah,
gives, 'cause
yeah.
Kind of a matter of
that's
do
part
you
of the
want
appeal.
Oh, sorry, Dave, you cut out. You've cut out. I don't know.
I can hear.
You got okay. Well, I
Yeah.
can't, and neither can anyone that is like watching this.
Oh man.
Reagan, man. You
It's
need a
my side this
computer.
time.
It's all you, bro. Yeah,
Hey,
come
dude,
on.
I'd
Why is
love
it
a new
like
computer. I've been
this?
trying to get something.
Maybe you funded the wrong person's new computer.
yeah.
Maybe my new computer is ruining everything.
What I might do, I want to hear what Dave's saying. We're gonna do something that I said we weren't gonna do, which is I'm gonna go to our Be Right Back screen, just so I can disconnect from Whereby and jump into a different browser and give that a go. So, guys in the chat, don't actually disappear because it's gonna be like a minute, but you're just gonna have our. I'll keep my mic on and we can talk while we do this. So guys,
Sing to us.
yeah, okay, we're just going to go into the Be Right Back. But you can hear me. In fact, you'll be able to hear anyone else as well. So don't disappear. I know this is a little bit of a trust game between all of us right now. So let's keep this trust going. You're not going to go anywhere, and we'll all be back very soon. No, I can see you talking about leaving, and that is the opposite of what I want people to be doing right now. Let's have a look. I'm still just slowly sorting things out because I got to get certain things going. Otherwise, don't say bye. I can see people typing goodbye. We don't want to do any of this while I'm getting this sorted. That's what we want to do.
A lot to talk about.
He's back, yay!
Can you hear us? We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay.
That's good because that means that the viewers can hear us. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh,
do
dude,
it,
that
Reagan.
sounds like trolling.
Wait, no, they were right. Now they can hear me. Sweet.
Oh, this is more tense than
Did we,
bloody
so much
did we
heck.
lose
pressure.
anybody with that? I don't think we lost anyone during that. I was just talking that entire time, just keeping them.
Oh, we were talking too.
No, but I didn't
We
have.
couldn't
the,
hear you.
No, I didn't
Oh,
have the window
okay.
open, so the viewers could only hear me talking during that entire
The,
time.
fi-
So I had to,
the final boss of Bavaria,
it was a nice
Bavaria,
Bavaria.
Barovia, is not Strahd, it's tech issue.
It's tech issues.
Yeah.
So I've opened up
So
in
true, so
Google
true.
Chrome now because Firefox, I think it was hating me. So we'll see what we can do. Anyway, Dave, do you remember what we were talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Well, just sure.
You've got a reminder?
Passive stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, the passive perception, passive intelligence stuff. Like, if you want a story to kind of just tick along nicely and slowly and not roll anything, and you sort of have no highs or lows, then sure, go with passive perception because it's all kind of middle range, and maybe your passive perception is 22 and you succeed at everything. But there's no chance of failure. You either succeed or you either see it or you don't. It's a boring story. It's middle of the road. But with rolling the dice, you get the extreme highs, but also the risk of an extreme low,
Yeah.
which makes it more interesting for us as players, but also the viewers, because because we are streaming it and that's what we're doing this for, besides having fun. If we give the viewers you succeed at that, or no, you're not good enough, it's dull. Whereas the dice roll, gives a chance of high, low.
Yeah.
Or even just average, and like the guy who's super good at it has just having a really average day.
It's having a bad
That's
day.
also interesting.
Yeah. I think 1s and 20s are the most interesting D&D can get. Like without
agree
a
with
doubt,
that.
without
Yeah.
a doubt. And if you take away the chance to get a 1 or a 20, just because it might make someone feel like, oh, I've done this, I'm good at perceiving, I can hear things well. I don't know. I think
let's be fair. Some of our ones have been the most entertaining things that we've done ever.
Ones are always the best.
Yeah.
Ones are always the
Without a
most
doubt.
fun.
yeah.
I don't remember any 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s, or 19s.
No.
I remember like most ones.
Yeah. By the way, I
Isn't
think
the rule?
I was just going to say,
isn't
John,
the
I think you can go back to
oh.
your microphone. I think we've solved our issues now. I think it
Oh,
was
why would
totally
you say that?
because I'm bold. Okay, I'm a confident
brave.
man. All right,
And
I
next
think
minute you're
we're-
rolling a
and I
one.
think we. I'm just going to roll
My
a
DM,
d20.
my DM told me to do this.
Yeah, roll a d20 to see. I rolled a 16, and I'm going to put a +5 for my confidence. So 21.
I tell you what,
total.
I am very good at managing a microphone, so I think I should just get an automatic pass on this.
yeah, that's a good point.
I hear what you guys are saying, and I still disagree. Respectfully.
entitled to
Yeah, no,
disagree.
But
I get
also-
it because Shannon has mentioned the same.
I just think like that what it does is it puts the maybe a little bit more onus on the DM to say like make things a bit harder. And you can say, yeah, for something that's a bit harder, you have to roll. Of course there's always circumstances where you have to roll. I just think like if you're trying to skip across a small jump and you are like a massive barbarian, of course it's going to be easy.
Oh yeah.
So I would if there was someone who has a specialty in a certain thing, if the DC is say 13 to 15, I would make them roll. Under that, I think I would be fine accepting that they can do a 10 like comfortably. If that's that is the thing that they're good at, like a rogue who's trying to climb a wall, who's studied their whole life to do that, they're probably pretty good at it.
What about a level 1 rogue?
No.
But also, I was going to say there's a rule that even if you roll a nat 1 on a skill check, you're not supposed to treat that like a critical fail.
No,
You're meant
no.
to treat it once. Like, so I've got
Yeah.
like a +6 on animal handling. So the lowest I can roll is technically a 7, which
Yeah.
isn't that bad.
Exactly. So you still pass it, but something goofy might happen because I'm still going to
Yeah.
listen to that one.
It's a skilled person on their worst day
yeah.
kind of thing.
So Furry Blue Elf said, and again, I agree with this 100%. Have you ever choked on a drink you were having? Because that's a skill you've done a million times. and you can
I
still
bit my
do
own
that.
mouth today. That is embarrassing.
Like, come on, you've been chewing
is
for
what
how
I'm
many
saying.
years now?
See, whether
I
you
rolled a
know
1
it,
on eating.
whether you know it or not, you're rolling every time you drink from a drink or
Well, every
eat
time you do something, your brain
You're
is rolling a
rolling.
die.
Yeah.
There is a die being rolled, and it's going, "Yep, you're good at this today."
No, it's not you. It's not you that's rolling. It's the universe that's rolling.
The
Okay,
universe, that's right, yeah.
Fate, whatever you want to call it.
But I will say, yeah.
Yeah. So, but
I think though the good point is no, don't make people roll for essentially boring stuff that is
Okay.
pointless and just time wasting.
I do agree with that. I think I've gotten a bit better with that. I think in Lost Mine and Phandelver, I got you guys to roll for way too many things. There was one thing in our Christmas special that I got Dave to roll for that I wasn't going to, which was jumping across the chasm.
Oh yeah.
So, but there was a reason I ended up going with that because that's a jump you could have made. It was more than your jumping distance. So it was less than your jumping distance. So you should have been able to do it. But there was so much build up about this fucking rope that was tied around you that you were holding onto and stuff like that.
That was painful.
That I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to make you roll just because let's just see where this goes because it was
I think
too
I
good
made it
not
more
to.
complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah. You can just drop the rope and jump over. Yeah.
It probably deserved a roll because I was making it more complicated than a simple leap.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Should we try
to be quite humorously funny?
Yes. I'll only add a roll if I think there can be something funny or humorous or something out of it if it's a fail or a success. If it's at worst, you're just going to get across and everything's going to be fine.
It was sometimes quite funny when you make the whole group roll for something like when we were just trying to go down a ladder. And it was just like humiliating bonding experience between the group and seeing like what happened to each character as they went down and how they reacted was very humorous.
So
That rope into the chasm.
Yeah, how many DMs are going to just get you to roll as you go down a ladder? Because there was literally, for two of you, you went down the ladder. And it was a ladder, for fuck's sake. You don't have to roll
was
the
pretty
dice.
funny.
But it was going to be funny. It was no way... The tension of, like, why am I rolling for a goddamn ladder or a rope? Like, that tension. But it ended up being hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. Foolish Fool asked, how do you determine or measure jump distance? Now, what is it? Something about your double your strength modifier?
Something like that.
I hate that rule as well. It seems so broken.
If you've got 10 feet to run, you can jump double your strength modifier. Is that right?
Yes, so I have the rules up, which I linked in the chat as well.
Okay.
So long jump. When you make a long jump, you cover a number of feet up to your strength score. Your score, not your modifier.
Oh, right.
If you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the jump.
Yeah.
When you make a standing long jump, you can leap only half that. So you need 10 feet, you can jump your strength.
Okay. So in Lawrence's case, that was like 18 feet.
Yeah.
Which
so
was
from a standing jump,
than...
I could jump 9 feet. From a run up, I could jump 36.
So you were gonna clear that chasm, no worries. I think it was like 10 foot.
No, from a running jump, you could clear 18.
Yeah,
18, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that. He's cutting out for me.
Oh, I just jumped. It's 100% Firefox. So
God.
it's all solved on my side now. So it was Firefox that screwed it. But if you go back to Google, then you have to worry about the microphone gain being just moved about by Google's goddamn algorithms.
Why can't we just have nice things?
There will be a setting somewhere in Google Chrome where you can tell it not to do that to your mic. I just don't know where it is.
Okay, should I move to Chrome?
I don't believe you.
For me to hear people, right? Then
it's probably
my
best.
Mic will be a bit wacky.
Your mic will be very wacky.
We're not far away from break, so maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have a play around.
Yeah, we'll do.
So the gist is like the stronger you are, the higher or longer you can jump.
Yeah,
which is logical.
I just find that very illogical because if you're a very strong, burly, stocky person.
Heavy. You're probably heavier.
You're heavy, you're not dexterous, and you can't launch yourself very high. Whereas if you're a tiny little waif of a, you imagine the people doing the Olympics gymnastics, they're not like the same strength as like the bodybuilder people doing. But they're the ones who can jump higher. So putting it off your strength modifier is a bit...
Sorrow's Tale agrees with you, by the way, Joe, because you're also carrying like a big chest of gold or whatever that you've picked up along the way,
and a
strong.
massive axe on your back.
Yeah,
Strong people aren't necessarily big and burly though. Like you can be
Not
small and strong.
necessarily.
yeah. But Loris is like
idea
7 foot.
Loris is huge. Yeah, absolutely. Loris
massive.
is huge.
Yeah.
But
What I'm saying is,
you could be a small elf and have 18 strength if you really wanted to be.
but what I'm
Yeah,
saying is
you
the
could.
rule
Right, you
ignores
could.
your size.
It does.
Okay,
in
so
One,
proportion to your strength,
one-
which is a
one-
crucial factor.
One thing that I saw, not Jeremy Clarkson, Jeremy, the guy who's like the lead designer on D&D. What's his name? Jeremy something or
Crawford?
other. Crawford, that's him. So he said D&D is not a physics engine. It's not a replicant of physics. So try not to think about it too rationally, I guess.
I wouldn't be
And-
surprised if, you know, because they mentioned on there, I didn't want to bring up the diversity post that they brought up, but they mentioned creating an optional tool that can be used to adjust agility points or benefits of races and stuff like that. My money is it being on a body size tool. So instead, so you can be like, you can pick your body type, and that body type might lend to different abilities instead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so you're muscular or
So
if
you could
you're
have like
overweight or
you could be like a muscular elf then,
yeah,
and that might
I
be
don't know.
different.
athletic,
I don't think
all
they'd
those
do
sort of
that.
descriptors.
Okay,
I
then
think
you
that
get into
the-
the trouble with them saying, "Oh, like fat dwarves
shaming,
don't
stuff
get
like
the
that or
same."
whatever.
There is the risk of that, yeah.
I don't think they'd do that, and I'd rather a rule be like kind of goofy and simple than, like you say, have to be a physics engine. So
Sure.
at the end of the day, the game is complicated enough. So I'm not.
It's
I
like
don't actually want it
It's
to be
very
more
straightforward.
I don't actually want it to be more complicated. So you know what?
It's like strong
Jumping
man
strength.
can leap. You know, it's a simple. It's nice and simple.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of dumb, but it's fine.
I think as players, you want to keep the rules as simple as possible because there are plenty of things to make it complex.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you want to play with encumbrance and all that sort of stuff, you can make it really complicated.
Could you
and even-
imagine playing with encumbrance?
God.
And,
I've done it
like,
wouldn't.
before, and it is hell.
and
It
counting
is so
coins,
hard.
like really counting. Like, yeah.
How much gold have you got in your backpack right now? Because that's weighing you down.
And
You can only run
copper
half
and-
speed. And I've got one too many spears on you right now. You can't move out the way of that bullet or the arrow that's coming into the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't
it's
do
horrible.
that. If it's the same with eating and stuff like that, like making sure that you've got the right amount of rations for your journey and stuff like that. That
You've
would
been
drive
on
me
the street
crazy.
for 9 days and you brought a week's worth of rations. You starve to death.
All you're doing
I
is
think that's
creating like boring moments. You're like, okay, we've run out of food. Let's go have a boring moment now, where you go and find a store or
That's
Well,
the
you've got
kind
to
of
go
thing
hunting.
boars
that I
and stuff like
think.
that.
I think it's fun to play single player, like some games that are based around that are fun in single player. But
Sure.
if I was like in a party of people and we're like, "Oh, shall we go hunt some meat?" I'd be like, "I'd rather kill a wizard," but you know,
I get it, but it would not be for me, John.
I was just going to say, I think like on the food thing or encumbrance or whatever, I think that can be really interesting used sparingly. So I think, I don't know if you, Dave and Reagan, you remember this, but we did this whole arc during Storm King's Thunder where you were in the wilds, and the idea was for you to try to survive in the wild, and like the cold mattered. The things that you encountered were more deadly not because they were like higher level, but because you didn't have access to resources you would normally have if you had easy access to town. And so food was a real issue. I remember playing in a game with Shannon, and we were in a desert, and it was like he had upped the cost. Like we came across a trader and he'd upped the cost of everything. And it was like, of course, like they're taking advantage of supply and demand. Like there's nobody else in this desert selling water.
That was Bildrath. Like that was Bildrath's mercantile. Like
totally.
Everything in his place was overpriced because where else are you going to buy it?
And I think what I guess my point is, I think that can be interesting. I don't want that in my game as a matter of course. I don't want that to always be the focus, but I think you can zoom into that and then just like let it go and just be like, okay, most of the time it's fine. But if you are adventuring for weeks on end in the wilderness, you are going to have to worry about food. You are going to have people like Joe or like Murican or like Loris who know how to hunt, who are going to be able to gather food for you. Otherwise, you're fucked.
I think that's why a lot of people say the ranger class is crappy as well. Because they're like, it's only good for things that most DMs hand wave. Such as wilderness survival, and it's like, no one wants to play that. So
I kind of agree. Playing Elst, like I didn't use a lot of his ranger abilities.
We've
like
got a special guest arriving, by the way.
Is this from the stage?
He's here.
I can't hear you guys. They're about to bring me back on.
Are you gonna?
I'll show you the crowd. You can hear me.
All right.
Tell them you're live streaming.
Tell them you're live streaming.
I think that was.
Oh, there he is. He's gone.
Whoa.
He's turned his phone around. What's he doing?
We're live at the Raw night.
Monday Night Raw.
No, he's gone. I don't know.
He's gone.
Okay.
Wow, what a cameo!
What a cameo, right?
He's-
It's like showing this is the D&D group that I'm in. guys.
guys, cheer, make a loud noise.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. I don't know if he's still there or not.
The lights will be on him, right? So maybe it just can't. We just can't see it. Oh, we can't hear him either.
I can't hear him either.
No, I think he's the internet must have cut out where he is.
Yeah, feel free to boot him out there, John.
Yeah, I might just boot him.
As Random says, New Zealand comedy at its best.
Right.
Not bad.
Okay, I'll give it like another 30 seconds or so
Sure.
while we talk,
Sure.
and then I'll just boot him.
But
I know he's gone.
he's
He's
gone.
gone.
Yeah. But on the subject of
He heard
rangers,
that.
like I played Alst obviously as a ranger. He's like modified because of the new version of ranger, because the old version apparently was terrible. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
But I found I didn't use a lot of his like wilderness ranger abilities because there was that one time when I got the chance to, but a lot of it was more about his fighting abilities and the occasional magic use. So it becomes sort of a magic using fighter rather than, unless you're in a wilderness thing all the time, where his wilderness skills become useful. Which is a difficulty depending on what kind of campaign you're playing. But
Well, then that's what Carl said. Carl Zone said only track that kind of stuff if it's relevant to the game style. Some games rely on it. So in the same sense, I think it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide, anything in like hell, if you don't rest properly or even after any long rest, I think you have to roll afterwards to see if you actually had a successful long rest. Successful meaning that you actually feel rested. So you still get your HP back, you still get your spell slots, but whether or not you get rested, and if you don't roll well, you get a level of exhaustion. And that happens every time every 24 hours while you're in hell. And now Descend into Avernus is almost entirely played in hell. So you're going to be like multi-levels of dealing with
exhaustion
and
that kind of stress.
Yeah. Because you are in a place that is giving you constant stress. You are in hell.
That makes sense.
And that makes a bit more sense. Now, I guess what might be fun for encumbrance? How could you make encumbrance fun then?
I think if you're like, let's say you are besieged in a castle or a fort or something, and you have a certain amount of resources, and you need to like ferry resources from the back lines to the front lines. And when you run out of said resources, you literally run out of them because you've got people besieging you on all sides. I think that could be quite an interesting like resource management game. Not necessarily something I'd want to spend a whole campaign doing, but like a few sessions might be quite interesting.
Yeah, or I think almost another way that it could be fun is taking a group of people into a dungeon or into some sort of building or castle or whatever with one goal, which is you need to go and find this one thing. But when you get to that room, there's more gold than you could possibly take. Like
it's
just
like
a
going into a
ridiculous
dragon's
amount.
lair.
And and then all being like, can I take all of this? You're like, of course you can't. Like it's an entire room full of gold. Where are you trying to figure out how much they might be able to take? would be.
It's like
would be
Bilbo
interesting.
Baggins walking into Smaug's lair and it's just gold and stuff everywhere, and you
Yeah.
literally can't take it all with you, even though you want to.
Yeah.
But then you, as a DM, are gutted that you gave them a bag of holding earlier on the campaign that you forgot about.
They take 3 hours just scooping handfuls. That's when you bring in more monsters, or the castle starts collapsing and stuff
That's
like
fine.
that.
My party can take care of the monsters.
Smaug wakes
I'm
up.
getting shit.
Yeah. Well, let's take like our usual 5 minutes, but I guess we're just gonna keep talking anyway. But feel free to go get a drink or something.
I'm just going to duck off for
Yeah. I'm still
2
hurting.
minutes.
I'm still hurting over the fake big bread. To be honest,
Still better.
kind of hurting over that one.
It was a moment of betrayal, but I think you should be able to get over it.
Yeah.
It was just too big to believe, really.
I
knew that it was
I
too big
believed
to believe
in
in my
my
heart.
I believed, and I was crushed. I was crushed.
You know what I was thinking when I saw that bread? You know what my first dubious thought was? I was like, how come the scores are so big then? Because you can. I
there's
don't
a
think the
cynic.
scores are proportional to the size of said bread, because you score the top and it like opens up when it bakes.
And I was just like, oh, that must be a fluffy son of a bitch that it's opened up like that.
You're like, oh, the king of bread is here.
Yeah.
Insta belief.
I wanted a slice. I needed a slice. I wanted
You were
to.
already making sandwiches in your heart.
In my mind, I was like biting in.
Reagan had the biggest BLT sandwiches.
No tomato.
I was rolling an insight check, and you were just straight on it.
just
straight
crit
in,
fail,
slicing
just
that
like
up.
number one. I was just like picturing.
Crit fail,
Yeah.
You crit fail your insight check. You
Yeah.
instantly believe this is the bread of legend.
It was I wanted it to be as well. I just wanted it to be. People might notice that there is a cage behind you today, Joe. That's not Joe's cage. There was a point. There was a point before we went.
Is that where you
live.
put her if she's not behaving?
There was a
Yeah.
point where the starting soon screen was on, and it was just you and me getting our cameras set up, Joe. And you were in the cage, kneeling down, and I was just like, I should just go live with that because it looks. It just looks like
And then
you
just
were
call
in
over.
your
You can
cage.
come out of the cage now.
Out of your
Time
cage
stream.
now. Yeah.
Don't make me beat you.
There are a couple of little bunnies in there. There's a couple of little bunny rabbits.
Oh, are you babysitting bunnies at the moment?
Fostering.
I've summoned-
a couple of
Summon
Awesome.
some. Oh, they're like all hiding in the back though. You can't really see.
Yeah.
See that white blob in the corner? That, if you can believe it, is a bunny.
Yeah. Does my mouse show up? I don't
That's
think my mouse
it's a bunny
shows up.
butt.
Oh, cute.
I bet I can lure them out with a spell called Fresh Greens.
I mean, at a hunt, yeah, go bring them out.
I'm gonna use my druid spell.
I don't know. I don't think they like being picked up at or anything, though, do they?
No, I'm not gonna try and force the issue. They've only been here for a day. I don't want to freak them out.
Yeah.
Are they?
I'm gonna see if I can just get them to come up to the front.
Okay.
Are they rescues?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're just fostering them for a bunny charity because they've got too many buns on the books.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The downside
yeah.
being Joe is allergic to hay. So
As it turns out, I can't breathe anymore. Oh well, they're very cute.
But I'm sure the bunnies appreciate it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they appreciate
and I
your
appreciate
sacrifice.
them. They're very soft. I'm also going to go into Firefox, out of Firefox
right, yeah,
while we're
yeah.
on the break. So BRB.
Hoju, the elder, said he bought a brand new bunny over the weekend. What kind of not bunny, puppy? Sorry, a new puppy.
Puppy.
What kind
What kind of puppy?
Yeah.
Must have pictures.
Yeah, we need to get throw some pictures up
Yeah.
in the Discord for sure. Because I'm a
pictures
big dog lover.
are the best.
Huge
Yeah.
dog lover. So please do that.
Okay, can you hear me? Not if you can hear me. Okay, I've
Can you hear
unplugged,
us?
so I
Oh,
can't
okay.
hear you.
All right. Okay.
But you can hear me.
An Aussie Shepherd Cross mini Dachshund.
Oh my god, a Woody? Oh, you like the Dachshunds?
That's awesome.
Oh, Black Bunny moved. Oh my goodness.
There we go. See,
Bunny!
got some bunny movement there. The black one is the hungry one, always. Yeah. I think, so that's we got a couple of
my
little foster bunnies.
Little, they're big.
They're actually quite massive. They're
Like, they're grown up bunnies. That's so
Yeah.
cute.
I think they've we've learned
Jeez.
we've learned a lot about rabbits. About supposedly they go through puberty earlier than when you can get them desexed.
Oh, right.
So you've got to
gotta
keep them apart.
Yeah, forcibly separated.
Yeah, yeah. So when
So
they're
the whole
young,
breeding like rabbits thing is a thing.
yeah, but then also once you've had them de-sexed, they love being partnered up with like one of the opposite sex, and they just like become friends. But you got to like
that's
find the
cute.
right one for them. This is now
Oh my God.
bunny chat. Hey everybody, welcome to Bunny Chat with the
We're gonna talk
Dicey
about
crew. We're
rabbits.
just going to talk about rabbits for a few minutes here, about the intricacies of de-sexing and partnering rabbits in your home. No,
That's really cool,
I think
though.
that was about it.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Joe may be there the rest of the night, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's settled in for the evening by the looks of things.
Yeah. Dave, we had a comment earlier that it was weird to see you without your
Oh yeah, because I
Loris
didn't
makeup
use
on.
them. I'm not using Snapcam. Couldn't be bothered.
That's fair. No, that's fair. We're not
Like,
playing.
Is
so
there any point? I'm not playing. And
we're talking to
so
Dave,
to be fair,
not
like,
Loris.
yeah. And to be honest, when I have that on, because it whites out my eyes, I actually find it really hard to focus because I end up staring because I don't blink.
But it's
It's-
not.
it's-
But it's not
I
actually
know it's not
in
me,
your eyes.
but like looking at myself and I see my eyes that are whited out.
Yeah,
It's a really weird trip. So I end up
Right.
staring a lot longer at the screen, and my eyes just they end up getting really sore.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's really weird. It's just
Yeah.
weird.
What did I miss?
I did like a little bunny chat thing for a bit there, and I was surprised that you actually came back. To be honest, John, you missed the bunnies. There were a couple of bunnies we just showed off.
You can still see the bunny butt. Look, it's the hungry one.
Whoa.
The hungry one is so
still
cute.
hungry,
I'll feed it
yeah.
a little bit more. There's one that's like a little slow on the uptake, and there's the one that's
I
like
think
very
it's-
food motivated.
I think one of them's mentally challenged. I think one of them. I think one of them is quite broken mentally.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like it'll just sit there and it'll just be like, looking left to right for like 5
Alright, I'm
minutes.
not coming back anymore.
I didn't think you were going to anyway, so that's fine. Yeah. Now she's got both of them there. She's not going to come back.
Gone.
So yeah, sorry, Foolish Fool, we use Whereby. We've sort of ummed and ahed over a bunch of different VC software, and none of them are good. None of them, even Whereby is not that great, but they're all bad. Skype is the worst.
We're quite a niche market. Like,
Yeah.
we might be. I actually wrote up. So I build software for a living, and I wrote up what we would need, and I realized why the software we need doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's because the people, like, we don't want to pay for it,
Fuck that.
and also, it's quite hard to make what we want.
Yeah, it is.
So we're in this Venn diagram that just doesn't intersect.
Yeah. I mean, we pay for Whereby. And I think it is probably,
That's true.
at the moment, I think it's kind of, it does the most.
Random.
Yeah, Random has actually been trying to build something to help and tick all of our little boxes, and it's a nightmare. So one of the things that I really like about what we've got with Whereby is that it puts things vertically. So if we want to have something vertical for on the side of our stream, we can have that. Or if we want to do this one, we're doing our chat, it can spread it out into 2x2. So there's not many that do vertical like columns of videos. That in itself is something that I think only Whereby does. I haven't found literally anything else that does that other than Whereby. And also
should have a look at-
I can click and drag and move people around if I wanted to for any reason.
Ooh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
And again,
we should have a look
not
at.
many VCs do that either. So Whereby has a bunch of these really cool features, but it does what all VC does, which is when two people talk over each other, normally one person gets cut out. But with the right gear, we've kind of solved that with Whereby. I think.
Yes, there is a free version, Foolish Fool. It's limited by how many people you have in the room. So normally it would be fine for us, but I think we're one person or two people over the
Two,
limit.
I think, yeah.
So it wouldn't work for us for free. So it's $10 US a month we pay.
That's really not bad. That's really not bad.
Yeah. I mean, Zoom is 15 US a month.
Yeah.
So
Less features with Zoom. So I'm happy with what we're doing for now.
yeah, I think less relevant features for us.
What do we got? Oh, is that Hoju's?
That's Rubik's dog.
Oh, Rubik's dog. Okay, cool.
So-
Jackalope.
I want to know,
Jackalope's dog, sorry.
did people appreciate the bunnies?
Yeah,
There was
Thunderflux
bunny
said,
talk.
those are weird dogs. They are.
Very good. I appreciate the appreciation. They're very cute.
There was some good rabbit talk. I was talking about desexing them for a bit there. So that's
The
exciting.
the girl bunny is not desexed and sometimes humps the boy bunny on the head.
Violently.
Just for a second until the
Violently.
boy bunny's just had enough, and then they have a little tussle and it's all over.
Is that a dominance
clip.
thing, or is that just?
That's a clip.
I'm confused
I was hoping
by
they'd do
like,
it on stream. They do it at the meeting.
Violently.
violently. Like,
Just on the
Very
head.
violent.
which
Right
is
in the face.
adding insult to injury,
Like,
really.
right in the face. Yeah. Okay. Well, by the way, we haven't had many follows tonight, so if you guys like what we're talking about, we normally play D&D, but this is just what we do when we have a couple of players less, so we just chat about D&D, and it's always fun. But thank you to Segfault and Lieutenant Roxo for giving us a follow tonight. I think Lachesi Rue gave us a host right at the very beginning, so thanks to him as well. But yeah, if you like what we're doing, give us a follow and jump into our Discord, because we're always talking in there about D&D stuff. Sometimes non-D&D stuff as well. Actually, more often non-D&D stuff, but it's always good. And there was a link earlier to our merch if you want to have a look at our t-shirts. You don't have to buy them, but at least take a look and appreciate the art that's on them, because they're very, very cool shirts. Sorrow's Tale, thank you for giving us a follow as well. Oh, I think I know what the next topic is going to be.
the book.
Like the chat. Oh yeah, the chat comments to provide content. Yeah, there's commands to make sure that you can see what is up with our current campaign, which is Curse of Strahd, and our previous 15 episodes are all on YouTube. They're all in podcast format if you'd rather listen to podcasts, as well as an entirety of our first campaign, The Lost Mine of Fandalva. So when I say first, so I mean getting Dicey's first. I think we had some. I don't know if I've uploaded the last dozen Storm King's Thunder episodes. I've still got them on my hard drive somewhere. I need to chuck them up, get them on there as well. That was when streaming, we were just like, I can just stream it, surely, and it was okay. The game was awesome, but the streaming was pretty average. Anyway, Joe, I see that you've got a little book in your hands.
Does it mirror the text?
No, I can. That's fine. That's fine. I can see that.
Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu. This was something that I picked up purely for people who are unaware, and it wasn't obvious. Joe and I live in the same house. That's my book. She's holding my book. Okay, it's my
book. I just want to make it
I
clear
own
it's
that
my
book.
book.
Okay, that is my money paid. No, it's all right.
Ooh. Actually, technically speaking, isn't it shared ownership?
It is.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is.
ripping this book in half if we get the book. I'm right.
You get every second
My-
page.
Wait, what? You guys are married?
Yeah. And how long have you and Dave been married?
So
Wow.
way too long.
Yes. We've known each other way too long.
Yeah. Sorry, we've got another question. Sorrow's Tale just asked, how many sessions did it take for us to get to 50 followers? We actually got the first 50.
One.
One.
I don't know, maybe like a month, I guess, to get 50. It was something like that. We've done pretty well over the last 5 months. I think we hit 400 at the start of the year, and now we're at almost 600 or mid 500s.
COVID was really beneficial for us.
Okay, well,
Well, it literally
I don't know if
was,
I'd put it that way.
I'm just be honest. There was plenty of people stuck at home watching shit.
That's true.
And we
that's
happened
true.
to be on.
There was plenty of people staying safe and being entertained.
We endorsed it, and we're heroes in a way.
We built it in a
we're
lab,
heroes.
strangely.
Not
I don't know if
just in
that's
the
well
game.
known.
Not just in the game.
Yeah. So it was never about the followers, right? We just we were playing online anyway, and it just sort of hit me. I'd never played D&D before. John was DMing at the time. This was about 3.5 to 4 years ago now, and
Was it?
something
It was
like
that long
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd never played before. John needed someone else in there, and I was like, okay, let's have a go. And I was blown away by how cool D&D was, because I'm a massive nerd. And I was like, well, if I'm enjoying listening to everyone else to having their turn, and then having my turn, we might as well just put it on to Twitch. And I didn't even think that other people were streaming it because I didn't even know what Twitch was. I just knew people streamed on Twitch. So I was just like, well, I've already put it all together for me to see. I'll just throw it together in a layout and put it for other people to see. And it was a pretty slow start, to be honest. And it wasn't until we sort of gave it the Getting Dicey moniker and tried to like make everything look a little nicer and have a little I didn't even do the intro for tonight.
Oh.
I'm just going to, for those things are...
Getting dicey.
Hi, welcome to Getting Dicey, guys. So that's, so we just tried to make everything look a little bit nicer. And as soon as we started putting in a little bit more effort on and it's gone to a shitty, because of, there we go. That makes it look better. We're trying to make it look nicer and put a little bit more effort. And then we got like people like John who have made amazing costumes. And we've got like Joe that makes amazing Snapchat filters to make her character and Dave's character look so good. And then Shannon obviously with green screen effects and making animations for his spells. And everyone just puts in a little bit to make it look a little nicer. And suddenly people appreciate that and start following us. And we get a nice
I like to
following.
think that we would have been doing a bunch of these things anyway. Like, I don't think we would have. It certainly amps up wanting to do something, but I would like to think we would still try to make it a bit special.
I don't think I would have made an intro if we were just like not streaming. I think.
Well, the intro is a little bit OTT.
Yeah, it's a little.
I think the costumes would have come out because Reese Sig was building on. I'm pretty sure he would have built it anyway.
Oh yeah, dude. For people who didn't see Lost Mine of Fandavel, Reese, who was playing a character,
I saw him in the chat earlier. Actually,
he's in Discord.
He is around.
He popped in.
He started off just making this really basic. No, I don't want to say basic. He made this armor out of like real basic materials, and then he just escalated, and he ended up in this amazing full body of like plate armor, but not made out of steel or anything. But
he just kept adding to it. It was amazing.
He bought an anvil. He learned how to blacksmith.
he made a hammer, a talking hammer. Yeah, a hammer that he fashioned with like leather strappings and stuff like that, and he could speak to it, and it would do commands and stuff.
I mean, he was already a developer, so he knew how to do that. But the blacksmithing, that was what was impressive.
John,
that was new.
John, I don't know if people told you that wasn't actually made out of steel or anything.
Mind blown.
I'm sorry. Evo was surprised that Dave and Joe that you guys were using filters. I guess he thought it was makeup. They're pretty great filters, to be honest.
Like the filters are awesome, but like I think originally when I started talking about the thing, makeup was discussed.
It was.
Yeah, everyone was trying to push you, like, come on.
There is no way that I'm painting my entire head grey and then putting just the amount of time.
There we go.
I would literally have to have spent hours in the shower after every session to do that.
Excuse me. There is every way.
Yeah.
Because you did agree that if we bought it, you would get Amber to do it.
True.
So
and none of you bought it, and then I got a filter. I was that close to doing it, but it's just.
I had money ready and waiting to go.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased
I
that
very
the filter
happily
came.
throw money
it just
at that.
made my life so much easier.
I mean, I couldn't even be bothered putting makeup on every time. I love these filters because it makes me look dramatic.
Yeah.
But I could even make these more dramatic, honestly.
So,
but I'm certainly not going to bother to put things on my face like this and buy contacts.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of people.
Trouble.
You go, Dave.
Like the trouble I have now is because I have the filter for Loris and it's also going to be my face and character for some time. When I do get to play another character, what are you
going to do, Dave?
What am I going to do?
Yeah. Sorry, Tales just asking how it's all integrated. So, Joe, you've got Snap. So anyone with Snapcam can actually find these if you search through their filters for Loris or American. So you too can be Loris American to your friends whenever you want.
Yeah.
And a bunch of old rando ones that I haven't deleted that.
Yeah. And then so Joe and John and David, they all have Snapcam running as a virtual camera, and that virtual camera gets spat out into Whereby. So they have hotkeys where they can flick over to their favorite things. There we go. John's got. You can flick over
John
to
is
Rage
scary
as well.
as a Goliath.
Actually,
That is
yeah, it
very
looks
scary.
really good. That looks awesome.
Thanks.
Then I was kind of like, well, I wanted to do something similar for. I don't even remember what came first now, the overlays or the filters.
It was very close.
Yeah.
But
I think the overlays came.
Yeah, and so I wanted to put on voices for all my characters, but I felt embarrassed. I wanted to not show my face while I did voices because it can be a little embarrassing. So I was trying to like find ways where I could throw up faces of characters, and this kind of ended up being the way that I could do that. Have a little face, and now you've got Ismark, and that's Needle's voice. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know.
Who's this?
find your voice.
Have you-
Rhea.
Well, he
got,
says, that's better. There we go. That's Ismark. That's his line.
Have you got the OG goblins?
Oh, okay. So, okay. One of the great things about streaming and everybody's donations and helping and subscribing and all this kind of stuff is it means that I can just quickly flick to different characters with Stream Deck. So I've loaded up a bunch. So I think if I'm in the right place for this, wait a minute. Oh, it seems further away. Here we go. It's Billy. Yes, that was like my first. That was my first voice and overlay, and it went down a treat. So I think that was actually episode 1. So that that must have come in before the filters.
There's actually good clips of it because we didn't know anything about this as
You
players.
guys had no idea.
And then it was like, you think you can?
Yeah,
And then that became the thing.
that became their little thing. It was
Yeah,
great.
and then the goblin rolling a critical fail and lining you up with a bone. He's like, yes, here we go.
Yeah,
Iconic.
yeah. So I think Soristel's liking like everything that is going into this. So he uses OBS stream elements, so my input source would be the virtual webcam that's doing the filter overlay. That's correct. So instead of choosing your webcam, you would choose Snapcam's webcam as your webcam. So you'd have to have Snapcam running, and that's what you select.
Yes, with one modifier is there's a certain, I don't know what you call it, but there's a certain plugin thing that only works in Windows.
Oh, that's
to add on for.
But you don't
add
need
on
to be
for
using that
OBS.
one though. I don't think you need to use that now, unless
If-
you want
if
to use
you-
the green screen.
Well, if you want to
doesn't
if you want
do
to
that.
output a thing from OBS into a video conference thing, you do need to.
Oh, I think he's talking about going from Snapcam. So from Snapcam into a video conferencing, all you need is Snapcam. You don't need to put Snapcam into OBS and then OBS. So what John's talking about is exactly what I'm doing. So I have 2 versions of OBS open. I have OBS, which with my webcam, where I can flick on different overlays. That has a plugin running, which spits out a virtual camera, which Whereby picks up. On this other instance of OBS, I take the Whereby window and backgrounds and stuff like that, and the map if we're playing, and put them all together on an overlay, and that gets spat out. So there's a lot of moving parts in our system and our setup, like a lot.
And we wonder why we have tech issues every week.
Yeah, but it also means in general our shit looks good, which is awesome. I'm pretty happy with that.
Apparently, that's how Goliath face paint should look. Thank you, Carlzone.
Carlzone.
That is awesome. That is Carlzone. That is
Not
awesome.
bad.
That's actually really
That
good.
is very cool.
That makeup around the beard is really impressive.
Yeah, it almost looks like you have the beard. It's good.
Yeah. Very realistic, 3-dimensional.
Joe, you brought the book over.
I did. I started reading it, and I'm trying to figure out what is the minimum I need to learn before I can be a one shot.
Okay, so yeah,
That's min-maxing DMing right there.
Yeah. What's the minimum effort I can
Yeah.
do to be serviceable?
the minimum that you can do is basically what I did for when we played through the Lightless Beacon, which was I had a PDF of like 4 mechanics basically. The skill rolls, the madness system, the combat system,
And spot hidden.
and spot hidden. And it really was like I kind of cheated because I thought, well, it's easier if we learn as we play. So we had like a learn along with us kind of session. That was kind of the min-max way of doing it.
And you would think I would have learned how to play it, but I didn't.
I wonder if there's many Call of Cthulhu players in the chat at the moment.
Some of the art's fun. There's this one of a lady, and there's a spooky boy behind her. Watch out, Frogman gonna get you.
There's lots of frogmen.
That's an example of the value it brings.
Wow.
Wow.
But you wanted to DM a session of this, right, Joe?
Yeah, I think I'll give it a go. Seems kind of fun.
And yes, sorry, it is sanity, not madness. I think madness, you get madness effects or something, but it's a sanity roll. Yeah.
I haven't got to that yet.
No, it's a great. I think I really love the system. I think one of the things I like about it, not over D&D, just as a difference to D&D, is that different levels of succeeding, and doing a hard succeed might mean something else. So if it only is like a D&D equivalent would be needing a DC 5 on something easy, but you roll an 18. So instead of just doing the thing, you do it with bonuses if that situation had bonuses attached to it, which is really cool. I really like it.
I really like the fact that you're actually not heroes. And not like you're just normal people. Like so literally running is a valid option. It's not like I'm going to fight till the death kind of thing. It's like no, if you die, you die.
Yeah. It's
There
not
is
a
no
narrative. It's like
you're just normal average Joe people.
Yeah.
Kind of searching for some clues or doing a bit of private investigating. I guess you're sort of basically just a bunch of people trying to solve an issue or solve a question.
Yeah,
which is quite cool.
I was
And
carry on.
No, you're right.
I was just looking through it when I was looking through it a while ago, and I was quite like, because you know how you kind of expect like a game like D&D, no matter what class you pick, you're sort of going and thinking, yeah, there'll be some cool stuff. Obviously, they all have to be they're trying to be equally cool. But on this, it's like, well, if you pick an old person, it's like deduct your strength and your con and your dex and your appearance, and you get a little bit smarter, but that's it.
It's brutal.
Whoa,
It's really quite nasty on age.
Extra luck or anything for being old. I was like, come on, at least give the 90-year-old guy some luck.
Luck? They're gonna die soon. That's not lucky.
You know who gets all the luck? Freaking teenagers, which is unfair.
Oof, your microphone just like freaked out for a bit there, but that's okay. I think we're back to normal.
God, what did it do?
They need it.
Yeah, I think you just need to make sure you stay close to your mic. That's all.
Hello. Teenagers should not get luck. The old people should get luck. This is ageism. Hot
Yeah.
take number 40 of the night.
Yeah.
You should boycott them.
Yeah. Just boycott the olds. Well, teenagers. Yeah, them too. Just everyone. Really.
Boycott teenagers.
Get rid of all of them. I think, Dave, just going back to that roleplay aspect of things, because Call of Cthulhu definitely in the session we played, it definitely was not about the combat. It was definitely not about min-maxing.
No.
And we found
given character sheet.
And what I really liked was like you always play these characters. I'm not sure if it's by choice or by chance, but they're always very ready for combat in D&D. They're always wanting to jump in. They always want to do some fancy moves, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it was great to see your Call of Cthulhu character just jump in a closet and shut the door and just be like, this is where I am now. This
Literally couldn't do anything.
Everything outside of this closet is terrifying, and I'm not coming out.
I kind of thought that was the most, like, I remember doing that, and I was like, to be fair, that's what I would have done. Like, there is shit going on outside that I have no idea about. There's stuff going on in here that I don't know about. That seems safe.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if taking away that power is a good means to
and that's why I thought
non-combat action out of someone.
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's kind of almost forcing you to think of other options.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I enjoyed playing Valmop so much, because I didn't have the big axe and the strength to wield and go
Valmop
smash
was
shit. So I had
wizard, yeah?
the wizard. So I had to be more creative with stuff. And for me, like, I think John kind of said almost the same thing. By choosing the bard, he had to think about doing things differently rather than what your instinct is normally just to go in and go, I'm all powerful, rah.
Yeah.
So you have to think about more collective thoughts and working together.
Yeah. Well, John,
So I think
as a min-maxer, how did you find Call of Cthulhu then?
I feel like I'd somewhat I'd made my way somewhat through my personal story arc of min-maxing with
Right.
in relation to role-playing games, and so I had already come around to this idea of trying to be a support player and like trying to help people. And so when I was doing that, actually the thing that I focused on the most, which is probably not what my DM wants to hear, but the thing that I focused on the most was just trying to have a really good transatlantic accent. That was my key. That was my key thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I got there.
Yeah.
It was rather swell.
It was good.
I've lost it.
I don't know if someone
I haven't
does
I haven't done it for a while.
I'm just like, I love this.
Joe, I remember being there was a little bit of frustration for you as the lack of urgency, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I remember at the time I was like, okay, we've been in a shipwreck, and as a whole, we're kind of treating it like a point and click adventure, like we've got all the time in the world. And I felt like everyone was struggling to get into the headspace of being a mere mortal and being out of their depth. Or like in the gamer headspace of let's solve the puzzle. I think that's like quite a challenge to overcome the mindset of like, oh, well, I've got to read the letter. Never mind that I've like don't know where I am and I'm in a shipwreck. All of a sudden I'm interested in someone's personal mail, and it's like, I found that disconnect a little challenging, but it's also part of like what you're kind of supposed to do in the game as well. So it's like,
I think also because we were playing it as kind of a one-shot kind of thing, had we worked into that, we might have gained a bit more insight. Like, yeah, it just kind of get that urgency that flows. I don't know, maybe like for me, it was because we're doing it as a one-hit kind of thing. It's like, hey, we're here to do this. We're here to solve a problem. The urgency isn't there. You're more distracted by stuff because you're trying to solve a particular thing.
What's interesting is the example play session they have at the start of this book. You're actually all playing as a team of investigators trying to solve like a mob situation that goes supernatural. So everyone is actually looking for clues, and it makes sense.
And there's like 3 or 4 scenarios.
Investigation.
There's 3 or 4 scenarios in that book that you can run as well. So,
Cool.
I don't know if they're one shots or if they're multiple sessions or not, but I'm keen to give one a go next time we take like maybe in another 15 episodes into Curse of Strahd we can break out like some Call of Cthulhu. But I'm keen, Joe. I think if you want to DM the books there, read up, learn what you can, or I can just give you like the little cheat sheet that I looked over before I started playing as well.
I want to see Joe like don the cowl.
It's the ceremonial cowl.
Yeah.
We actually rolled so well we avoided insanity completely.
You guys did so well with
it was
that.
like just very good luck, but we didn't even get to explore that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, which I was quite nervous about anyway, because it was one of those things that because we didn't do it, because we hadn't tried it out, I had no practice in it either. So suddenly we got further and further into this, like 2 weeks it took us to go through it, 2-shot. And I was like, oh man, if something happens now, we're going to really bring the whole speed down and go, let's open up the book and take a quick look at this thing and learn all about madness and the sanity rolls and stuff.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I really want to play more of it.
It's got a lot. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Just look at the lists of phobias. These are all these 2 pages of all the phobias and manias you can get.
Yeah,
so
it's so good. It's so good.
Give me a random number from 1 to 100, or just pick
63.
one. So that would be myxophobia or mixophobia, fear of slime.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And so
I would have said fear of remixes.
So
I think if you're playing a longer campaign, like the phobia thing and the insanity and coming back from the brink of that would be really quite fun.
Yeah, so like you roll when you come across something that gives you one, and then you have to add it to your backstory.
Yeah, you keep that phobia forever.
So that character
awesome.
now, whenever they see slime, they're going to be having a bit of a freak out.
Which is such a cool way to help people roleplay.
Mm,
I
Yeah.
think it really
gives you
helps build
hooks.
that character, and it gives you hooks.
Yeah.
Someone
absolutely.
give me a mania, because there's some very fun ones on here.
Dave, out of 100,
Let's go 73. I like 3. 3's cool.
73, Notomania. Compulsion to record everything,
Oh,
e.g.
right.
photograph.
yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But some of these are really like even just so
Little
so
shadow
it'd
bag.
be so annoying / fun.
And Carlzone mentioned, like, and this is what I agree with as well, like the leveling system is really interesting and it encourages you to try things that you're not good with. Because, so let's just use spot hidden because this is one of our favorites. If you roll a spot hidden and you're successful, you put a tick on your character sheet. And now you've got a tick on that. I can't remember when, I think it's at the end of the,
At the end of it.
at the end of the module, whatever
Yeah,
module,
you
at the
roll
end of
them.
that story, you then roll a dice for each one that you've got a tick next to, and your percentage score gets better. So
Yeah.
you literally
Could get better.
Could get better, yeah, if you roll well.
Make it better. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you roll well, it goes up by a percentage
So
of
it
certain
makes,
amount.
so you can start being like, oh, well, I really like doing this one specific thing, so I'm going to look for ways, times to do this. Or you're like, I've got a really bad sort of score on this. I want to start practicing that and trying to at least try it once each campaign.
Because you only need to succeed at once. You get
That's
the
it,
tick, and then you
yeah.
can kind of roll it later. So you do it. Yeah, I've succeeded, and just I guess you could go through kind of ticking up different stuff that you want to do.
Yeah, and it's like suddenly you're now better at shooting shotguns. Not like not pistols, but shotguns. Like depends on the gun and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool little system.
Some of these are like so benign, and some of these are so life ruining. So good.
Do you roll?
a-
To get those phobias, or is it
The
an
thing-
allocated thing?
Yeah.
You roll 1d100 and then you get one of these.
So,
So there's
that
one that's
happens-
like obsession with killing, and it's like, well, that's bad. And then there's one that's just like irrational compulsion to shout.
Yeah, because I think from memory, right? You get scared. If you have to do a sanity roll, you instantly get like an instant. I'm just doing this from memory now. Like something happens, whether your character might drop something. They'll drop what they're holding, so there's like an instant reaction. Then they roll to see if it has like a sanity effect on them.
Wow.
And then so you've got all these different levels to it, and after a certain amount of insanity, you start getting phobias and manias and stuff like that, and you keep those and you can get to a point where your character goes completely crazy and they get locked up in the state penitentiary, and you create a new character now. But you can in this world use your character to go visit your crazy old character and like
that's cool.
learn
You can
what
go
they
visit
knew.
yourself.
It's so fucking cool. There's like a one camp. I think it's one campaign, but it's like 3 parts, and each part is its own book that's like 150, 200 pages each. And so like this, I feel like it's the kind of game that you would play over 5 years. Which I think I love that, but I don't think I'll ever play it. Like I love
That's
the
a long
concept.
time. That's a long time to be playing and building, because you're kind of living. I guess you end up kind of living that character from.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, if you start as someone in their 20s, you're kind of living that character and seeing how they go. It's like it's a very long sort of winded time.
Yeah, you can end up playing their relatives and stuff like that as well. Like your character might have a child, and then years pass, and now you're that child, and so it's really cool, really cool concept.
Yes, there are, I
I
think,
do-
3 phases of insanity.
So, John, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, I do think there's a certain quality to the game, to Call of Cthulhu, that like I know D&D is like the premier role playing game, but it's very clear to me that there's a really high quality level to that, and there's heaps of role playing games, right? But for some reason, Call of Cthulhu like keeps on coming up, and I think it's like these attributes that we're talking about, like where it allows you to do certain things, and it's just such a solid feeling system, even though like I mock it relentlessly for being so specific about certain things. Like there's absolutely thought behind every one of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's a sign of a really great game.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're looking through some books. Well, give us a library skill check. Oh, you're not good at library? Then too bad. Like, yeah. It's
Oh, you never been to a library before, punk?
yeah.
Well, why don't you skate on out of here with your skateboarding skill?
Yeah, it's a totally different feeling to the D&D because it's not like, oh, I'm a hero on a quest and I'm probably going to do well, because it's not like the game isn't designed around you doing well at a hero quest. You're just a person tossed into the madness of the universe.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So it's kind of be a sweet, awesome, fun thing to have your character go insane and then have someone, because
Well, I think that's the whole point of the insanity or the sanity system, is that it's actually meant to be not something that you fear. It's something that adds to the lore and the story and the fun of the game. Like, there's something cool that now your character, just from a dice roll, is like, now has like the fear of blood or something. And every time they see blood, they freak out and run. And like things that can happen where your character just like passes out, and then you roll a dice and they've woken up in that situation that the dice now tells you, like that kind of thing. It's really cool. I love the, just again, it's all about, I think this is what I prefer about D&D, is that storytelling, that narrative, and that role play. And I think Call of Cthulhu is like that to the extreme. I feel like it would be much harder to min-max in Call of Cthulhu. I don't even know where you...
kind of encouraged not to. It even kind of says like, hey, if you have a weak character, it just kind of might make them more interesting.
Of course, the leveling up in Call of Cthulhu doesn't really allow you to mid-max. Like within D&D, you level up, you amp up certain skills and certain features, whereas in Call of Cthulhu, you just don't do that. Whether you level up or not, it's on a roll of a dice.
And with anything, your character's going to get older over time and start getting some of those negative effects of aging too, which is kind of cool.
But start like in your mid-30s. It's like, what the fuck?
And if you leveled up like your library skill, who knows if you'll ever visit a library again in the game and it be relevant.
Yeah.
But don't forget spot hidden. You'll use that every freaking time.
There's probably a bunch of skills
Spot
that we
hidden
didn't
was
even
great,
use that we probably should have used, but whatever.
Yeah. I just like how we all got behind spot hidden. Like, it's literally just like an investigation or a perception roll.
It's just such a weird thing to call it.
Name. Yeah.
It's not even a phrase that makes sense.
It's very specific to looking for something that you can't see. Like, it's not even, I just want to check the room to see what's going on. It's, I want to see something that's not, I can't see right now.
Yeah.
I'm specifically...
you succeeded. That means I tell you found this one thing. But you did a ultra success or heavy success or whatever. Now I can tell you 3 things.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized
it's very clever.
The reason I think it's such a funny sounding skill is because I was misinterpreting it.
What did you?
Because I thought it was like, instead of the verb to spot a hidden object, I was thinking like a hidden spot. But they just reversed it. Like, can you see a spot hidden around here?
I love it.
Call it that?
Right.
Just a small Dalmatian
Spot's hidden again.
who has hidden
Spot's gone.
I like. Okay, okay, that's cool.
It makes more sense now that I think of it as a verb.
Okay.
I want to spot a hidden thing.
Yeah.
You're checking to see if you can do something, so it's an action.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, okay.
Not just.
I think
It's calzone all over again.
I think Calzone needs to create a Calzone store. I think Calzone's Calzones would be the way to go.
Calzones, absolutely. I'd go there.
Okay, let's move on from Call of Cthulhu. There's something, we use this as like a wrap-up topic, I guess. There's something that John had on his list, which was playing D&D on the web versus playing D&D in person. I think that's a really, really good one. I think, yeah. John.
This is your point. To kick off. So I started my D&D career as an in-person player. I started with the beta of 5th edition. So it sounds like that's the current edition, right? So you'd think it wouldn't be that long ago, but that was
a long
like
time
8
ago.
years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So and I was like, when I had tried online, like, so I got quite obsessed with D&D when I first tried it. As any true min maxer would, you want to try to extract maximum value. And I was like, look, we can't meet up twice a week, but I'll run an online campaign. And so that was my first experience DMing in the middle of the week. Start of the week, we played in person. Middle of the week, we played online. And I was like, you know what? Online fucking sucks. It's so much worse. So much worse than the in-person session. It's obviously not my DMing.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, it was like, I was like, I just don't like this. Like, I really like the in-person rolling physical dice doing this thing. What I realized was, so bit of context and background, I'm 30 something years old, and I have 2 young children, and I was like, you know, if I want to play a game, going to somebody's house is just not practical during the middle of the week. And so I was like, when we started looking for players to play, I was like, oh, let's try online, even though I wasn't a massive believer in it. So we tried it, and it actually worked like pretty well, and we ended up streaming, etc. And what I and through playing and stuff, what I came to realize was you can actually really lean into the benefits of online, or really lean into the benefits of offline, and they're different. So like offline, I feel like ironically, theater of the mind is really powerful when you've got like people that you're with, but like a lot of the drawbacks, especially with like a group of people that you're not super familiar with, is like it's really hard to role play as hard as you can online. Online, you've got like beautiful maps that you can like show and give absolute clarity about where everything is. It's a lot harder to replicate that in person, unless you spend a lot of money like building terrain and that sort of thing. And that's like, man, I'd love to do that. That would be amazing. But it's just not something that I've experienced. And so what I kind of came to realize was, for me, neither of them is superior. There's no like, this is the best way to do this thing. It's like, I think whatever you are most used to is the thing that you prefer. And Reagan and I, and Joe's been at some of these sessions as well, have played in-person sessions while we've been, you know, mostly playing online. And I found those harder to engage in than our online sessions, even though my background is in person. And I think it's because I'm so used to the online thing now, where basically I sit down, I put up, you know, the video conference call, the battle map, and that is all I think about. And that's my like focus area. Whereas when I'm in person, and maybe it was the context in which we were playing, but I was like, you know, I'm in some random person's house, not completely random. Like I knew them, I knew them, but I didn't know them super well. And I feel like that's quite hard to overcome. The, you know, I certainly wouldn't wear this around to their house. I joked with an earlier DM I had, like, what would people say if I showed up in a robe? And it was like, that was 100% a joke, but I fucking love doing it now, you know? Like, I'd love to show up, I'd love to play in a robe, and not to, like, to put myself more in the mood of it. And I think, like, whatever you're used to, I think, is the optimal thing. And I genuinely don't think one is better than the other. I think both have pros and cons, and whatever you're used to is the thing that feels the best.
You've kind of
slash rant over.
That covers everything, eh?
So I've only really played online. That's it. And a lot of that time now, in fact, more of that time now has been as a DM, and building and making sure that like everything works for you guys. So there's no there's as little as smaller barrier to entry as possible. So you guys can just sit down and be able to move your stuff. Yeah, John?
I was just going to ask you a question, actually.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Because you are predominantly an online player like me now. But you played an amazing character. You didn't DM. It was like one of the chances you got to actually play in person with Brad of Fate of Bison.
Yeah.
And I really loved your character. And I guess like my question is, did you prefer that? Or how did you commit to that when your whole background is online?
Yeah, that was really interesting because like you kind of knew Brad and Adam. Well, you knew Adam, you kind of knew Brad. So Adam, who plays Morley, was there as well. And I knew none of them at this point. And I was like...
But you were so good.
I knew John. And I was like, okay, well, I've been putting on stupid voices for all of my NPCs. I can't... And these guys have seen some of our episodes. So there's like a precedent set. And I couldn't just show up and go... what's in the box? I have to be full of life, and because they've seen me be full of life on the stream before. And I was paining myself over that character for days and days and days, and practicing the voice and rehearsing the voice and trying to get like, here's a little saying that my character would know, and like, I'm got to make sure I get a chance to say this little saying. And then I was like, well, I don't know them and I may never see them again. So I can kind of be as over the top and as stupid as I like, because I may never see them again. And so I just came in with my half orc that was like a surfer bro, just like full on American kind of, yo, dude, what's going on? Kind of like voice. And that was just fun. It was just, I think the hardest thing for me playing in person was, one of our viewers, I haven't seen him for a wee while, Sock Merchant, he's shown me a lot of how he plays in person, and it's with like 3D printed maps, like smoke machines and resin fountains and lights that turn on and all this kind of stuff. And in my head, I'm like, Brad's gonna have all this cool shit, and it was nothing. There was nothing. And so Adam was running it, wasn't he? And there was no maps. We had to just kind of like draw our own sort of understanding of where things were in front of us, and kind of just picture it. And it's like, oh, we're in a city, and it's like, I can't see it. What I'm picturing is probably so different to what everybody else is picturing. So having that digital side of things where we're all looking at the same maps. I think there's really pros and cons to that. First of all, the pro is we're all looking at the same thing. We all know where everything is laid out, but I think it helps me be a little lazier in how I describe things. So I don't need to describe what it might look like because you guys can just see it there. And so because I'm not describing certain things, I forget to describe other things that could be important, like the smell and the feel in the air and stuff like that. It's things that's very easy for me to forget because I'm more focused on that storytelling.
Are those descriptions in the book though? Like, are they actually there? Like, I know some of them are, but are they like fully, like the smells and sounds? Are they there, or are they just up to you?
I think it depends on the module. So Lost Mine of Fandalva had nothing like that at all.
Right.
Whereas there is a chunk of that in the Curse of Strahd.
Okay.
They're often not, but like I feel like, I mean, I haven't DM'd for a long time now, but I feel like that's one of the really big good pieces of advice I got was try to engage senses that are more than what you see.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot more engaging. For some reason, it's a lot more engaging than like if you describe the air as acrid, people like instantly you're in there.
I find it way easier to describe something I can see in my head. You know, like I've thought about this moment and I can describe it. But when you rock up to a new town, and I've kind of there's so much in this town, and I've had a look over all the important things I need to, and someone just goes, what time of day is it? And I'm just like, I hadn't, that's not something I'd thought of. But that plays a big part into how light is making its way through this town. Is there a mist rolling through as well? And it's like, I find that part really hard, where I find it much easier to be like, I'm a dumb god, what's going on? Like, that's much easier for me to just throw something like that up instead of just quickly. I've seen videos of people like just off the cuff detailing things beautifully, and I'm just so jealous of that. And I think having maps in front of you guys, the benefit is you can all see the map. It sets the scene quite well in a really basic way, but it stops me from over detailing it or getting more into it. I don't know. But I think in general, online works better for me, because if I had to play in person, I wouldn't play. I think it's as simple as that for me. I don't think I'd be able to mentally prepare myself for an in-person session, which would probably be more than 2 hours. It would probably be more like 5 every single week. But I also think there'd be pros there where instead of, if there's something I don't know while we're streaming, I'm really fidgeting and like racking my brain to try and think of an answer straight away, so we don't have dead air, so we don't have like just this quiet. Whereas if we were just not streaming and we were sitting around a table, I'd just lean over, get a book, and be like, 1 second, I'll just find that answer for you. John.
I was just going to say also, like, I feel like the power imbalance is less, not power, like, I feel like DMs in person feel a lot more responsibility, because they're like, well, I can't immerse you in
big thing.
Oh, they're scrapping it out.
Kicked him in the face that time.
They're just scrapping it out.
Wow.
About that. That's the biggest beef I've seen yet. My
Yeah.
God.
Jesus,
You know,
dude.
you shouldn't be humping your friend.
There's a
Don't
key
screw-
life lesson right there. Don't screw
the crew. Yeah, like I just feel like the pressure is on an in-person DM a lot more.
Interesting.
Because people are going to come usually to your house. Usually, sometimes not. When Shannon was my DM, we actually played at my house, and that was just because like Shannon wasn't in a house where he could have people over. In my house, I was in an apartment; it was tiny, but I was the only person living there, so I could have a table and pack it up, and anyway. But I feel like the pressure is quite a lot more on the DM in an in-person scenario.
That's really interesting.
Because often they're the host, and also, like, if somebody wants to do the full sock merchant thing with like fog machine and like battle terrain and miniatures, which is really cool, by the way. I'm not knocking it. Like, who's going to fit the bill for that?
Yeah.
Like, do you say to the players, I want to do something amazing for you, give me X dollars, or my hypothesis is more commonly they just go ahead and do it, and then I guess luxuriate in the response that they get. And then that's all their personal cost. Like, I don't think that it's particularly fair, but me as a DM, I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable being like, hey, I'm going to buy a bunch of shit for you. Give me some money.
Yeah, I totally get that. I do find it interesting that you think you might be right. You're probably comparing what you've heard or seen with how you felt during DMing. I know Joe can attest to the fact that I, like most sessions, I get off the computer and I head upstairs and I'm just like, God, I could have done so much better on this, and I should have done better on this. I'm really hard on myself, but then I listen over a session afterwards, and I'm like, You guys were fine. You guys didn't notice that I didn't have that prepared, or didn't notice that I was flummoxed over such and such. But yeah, I take it maybe too seriously. I get
You do such a
really
good job.
into it. I get
An
really
example
into it.
of
the
something Reagan said to me before. He, oh man, I can't stop thinking about how I was doing that Vistani voice, and it was like sounding Irish and then going over to Scottish and Irish, and I was like, oh my gosh, no one cares. Everyone loved it, but like that's the detail oriented side.
But the fact you take it seriously, Reagan, makes it fun for us. Like you take it seriously, you put a whole lot of effort into it. It makes it fun for us.
It's stressful.
Whether we notice that you miss something or don't miss something, most of the time we wouldn't have the foggiest idea.
Yeah.
But the fact that you care enough to take the time and make the effort pays off.
Mm.
And I think that's what we all see.
Dave, have you done much in-person D&D?
When I was a kid, yeah. Like I first started
right.
playing D&D when I was like 12, 13. So
Right.
like it was in intermediate, and probably through college I played a lot of in-person stuff with like once a week we'd go, and my friend's older brother would DM. Yeah.
I was just going to say, how many years ago was that, Dave?
Oh fuck. You're talking 30 something years ago?
I think
So
you
if
and
you wanted
Shannon
to-
both.
It was a joke. You didn't have to answer.
I think both you and
Okay.
Shannon played when you guys were both young. Not together, but like you both started.
Yeah,
at a young
I got
age.
into it quite young, but then there was a massive gap where I didn't touch it. So probably I would have stopped maybe before I was like 18, and then massive gap. So it was a 5-year gap, 5-year space where I played it every weekend, almost non-stop, and then a massive gap until randomly John sort of says, "Hey, dude, do you want to play D&D?" And I'm like, "Ah, whatever." And 4.5 years later, we're still
Yeah, you've almost covered that
kicking around.
5-year
Yeah,
time
exactly.
span again.
And then the difference, like now, online would be probably the only way to do it, just because the time commitment. It just 2 hours on a Monday night or 3 hours on a Monday night. I couldn't give that if I was going to someone else's place. Like the travel, the time, getting back, and if you're doing it on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's just like there's your whole weekend kind of killed.
See, I like that we do it on a Monday night. I know it's not great for our viewership. I know that we play at a terrible time, but we play it at a great time for us. Our availability is real. It works for our availability, which is fantastic. There are very few weeks where we can't play. We might have the occasional week where one person's missing, but even the fact that we've had 2 weeks
rare.
without is really rare. Really rare.
Like I remember when I was playing in person, and the sessions would go like from like midday till like 9-10 o'clock at night. They were incredibly long sessions, and you'd be fucking wrecked afterwards.
Yeah.
And to do that every week is exhausting.
Yeah.
So you do that once a month.
Desmaris in our chat and our Discord, he mentioned to me that he used to play literally all night. Like they would start at literally all day. So get there at like 11 in the morning. But they'd be going almost until 11 the next morning. They'd just be these big, long D&D sessions. And it's like, that would be amazing. But I can't understand being a DM in that situation where you're DMing tired eventually for like 10 to
it's so
15,
taxing.
18 hours.
It would be so taxing.
Yeah. Joe, your experience playing in person versus online.
Yeah, I haven't played heaps in person. I only played like 3 sessions, I guess.
Which is less than
Total.
I've played in person.
But I didn't that thing where you're like, oh, if I was DMing in person, I'd take time to look up a rule book. I'm like, bro, don't waste all our time. I don't think anyone should do that unless it's like a pivotal thing. You should only look it up later unless it's pivotal. I think like people are more like casual about wasting time in person from what I witnessed. Like there were people and the other thing I want to say is like it's hugely based on who you're playing with, what's going to be good at. Because like there were people at the one I went to that would just be like on their phones if they, I guess, didn't find the moment interesting. And like the guy sitting next to me at one point was just going through his emails and deleting spam. I was like, why are you here? Was what I was thinking. And then just like the DM sort of has you a bit trapped if they're on a power trip like this one was, a bit fully into themselves and like horny for their own story at the expense of everyone else. And it was
like in your situation, that was a first-time DM doing homebrew, and I don't think that's ever. I don't think that ever works. I don't think you can do homebrew for your first time ever DMing. I would.
Yeah. I think some people just do not have the skill of brevity either.
Yeah.
And you kind of need a DM who's not just going to just make everything take forever, because it was only meant to be a one shot. And they kind of like wheedled me into coming 3 times, and like I was just like so over it. I didn't even want to go more than once, but they kind of like almost, when someone's kind of like, oh well, we didn't finish the thing that I said we were going to do.
Like you said, horny for their own story.
I just felt hostage by the end of it.
And this is why I think like professional campaign or module writers, they know things are going to be missed by players, because so many people are going to play that story that it gives an opportunity for some people to have an experience that others might not, even though they're playing the same story. But with homebrew, you've got these DMs that are like, oh, I wrote this cool thing and you haven't seen it. You need to go there. We find a way to make sure you go there.
Get through this part. I wrote out the lore of how their customs process works.
Yeah.
We did literally have to go through customs, and I did not like it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the good thing about doing it online is like, you're like, we are doing it from 7:30 till 10:30 or whatever, and then it's like, well, if people's going to start logging off,
Yeah.
you can't. It's not as awkward as just like, oh well, I'm leaving, I'm walking out the door, and then but like you can't. I feel like the boundaries are more concrete, so it also gives people that assurance that they have a certain block of time that's not going to spin into a 7-hour session.
Yeah. 2 hours, 2.5 hours is great. It's probably far shorter than a lot of people would like to play, but I would rather finish a session wanting more than be 5 hours in and just being like, when is this going to fucking end?
Yeah, I've been in one of those.
I would love like a 4-hour session, but it's just not practical.
The thing about in person is that everyone's like, oh, should we have a snack break? And then that's 20 minutes of people going and boiling the kettle, grabbing snacks, and then there's something about the time flow of being in person that just stretches.
Sorry, John, you had your hand up before as well. So.
I was just going to ask Joe, like, do you feel like with that situation that you were talking about, like, do you feel like there was anything, like, how did that, if you were going to DM, what would be the top lessons you would take away from that?
Nice.
I would say the top lesson would be like, if you're going to promise a one shot, make it a one shot. You have to respect your players' time. It's not, your story isn't so important that it takes however long it takes. No, you work your story to the time frame. The time frame does not work to your story, because you're not a god. Okay.
And I just want to put into that, one of our things with like the Christmas special that we had last was like, okay, this is a one shot. We can't piss around because there's a lot that we've got to get through. And like 40 minutes in, you guys are fighting with the rope again, getting into the and like trying to get over the bridge and stuff.
Shot.
Yeah.
But I think that is a skill that is learned as well. But it's also
It sounds like your DM. It sounds like your DM had this homebrew story and they wanted it told.
Yeah,
I think that's like a trap a lot fall into, where they're just like, I've put so much love into crafting this world. You have to do exactly. They couldn't possibly skip through anything that might be perceived as boring.
I don't think
that's
it's a
the way this
homebrew
world
thing.
works.
I don't think it's a homebrew thing. I think it's a first-time DM, like, convinced they're good enough to do homebrew.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Which is probably the danger. Yeah.
And I think they also fell for that naive thing of like not expecting the players to do what they'd already preordained that they should be doing.
Yeah. By all means, take a module, throw some, like when you're a few sessions in, throw in a small thing that you've just designed yourself.
Yeah. I think doing your own campaign first time, that's full of dangers
Yeah, yeah.
because you're learning yourself, and if you've got
Yeah.
no sort of controls, like which you get with a preordained campaign,
Yeah.
you can go, you create a wide open world, and you can as a DM can do anything,
Yeah.
and your players will do pretty much anything unless you control them, and then when they feel controlled, they're not going to enjoy it.
John?
So the reason why I asked that question, Joe, was because I've been that DM.
Right.
So my first time DMing, I said, right, we're gonna do a trilogy. It's gonna be 3 sessions. It's gonna be fine. Ended up being 5 or 6 sessions, I think. And I think like a lot of my I don't know why I felt this way, but I had put a lot of effort into it, and I think I kind of maybe made that more important than the player enjoyment. And like I blocked a lot of ideas. Like people would try to do a thing, and I'm like, no, that's not the way that this works. And and it was like I'm really sorry to the people that were involved. Shannon was one of them. But it taught me so much about DMing. It was like I didn't DM again for years after that. But I think I really realized how easy it is to be a bad DM and how hard it is to be a good DM. But basically, I was like, this is the thing that I want to tell. I was trying to do a short story, so I was trying to give people a reason to bond together. But when they wanted to do something, like they pointed out, like I guess if you were a novelist and you wrote a story and people were pointing out logical inaccuracies in your story, that was how I felt. I was like, I can't explain to you why your idea is invalid, but it is.
Yeah.
That was like, and that's super bad behavior, right? Like I didn't yet have the muscles to flex and be like, I need to adapt to the story that you're trying to tell or to what you're trying to do, but I still need to get you to this point. And so I hadn't really like worked that out yet. And I think like for me, that's a lot of the reason why I think like I'm so impressed by what Reagan does, because this is literally not this campaign, but the campaign before was his very first campaign. Yeah, he wasn't doing homebrew, but man, like you just took to it straight away.
I learnt a lot of hard shit really quickly though. Like our first 5 or 6 episodes, I think by the end of the 6th episode, I was like, I know what I'm doing wrong now. Like I know all the things that I'm doing wrong. I just got to get better at those things, because I couldn't be like, well, I know what to stop, because I didn't know what I was meant to replace those stopped things with. So I was like, I need to figure out how to get better at these things that I need to stop doing. One of the things that I really enjoyed doing was just finding snippets of homebrew. Instead of having big adventures or quests that were homebrewed, I would just make little moments homebrewed, which is, I guess, just part of like role-playing as the NPCs anyway. But it was like Carp being grabbed in the city center, right? That wasn't in there. That was just, I needed to find a way for you guys to realize, because I hadn't sold it well enough, that the bandits were shitty people, and like they were going to murder this kid in the middle of the like town square. Like I wanted, and that was me going, all right, I know I fucked up. I can't just have them just suddenly be. I can't have just an NPC tell you, no, they're evil, because you weren't really trusting many of the NPCs. I had to have like someone so severely innocent be taken in front of you, and like he's gonna get his throat cut.
Yeah. Oh, you were gonna say something, Joel?
I was just gonna say, like, I think that level of awareness of this is what I was lacking when I first DM'd, right? what I am trying to make you as players feel is really the key thing. Like you recognized that you hadn't sold that enough, and you were like, oh, we need to wind that back. We need to make it feel real for people. And I think I was too caught up in my fiction. But I think that's a really important point. Is think like my best advice I could give to DMs would be think about what you want your players to feel in this section of the campaign. Do you want them to feel strapped for resources? Put them in a wilderness. Do you want them to feel heroic? Like get them to solve a like really challenging thing. And you can make people feel like you as the dungeon master are responsible for managing the ebb and flow of those feelings, I think.
I think the one about feeling heroic is really important as well, because these campaigns can stretch a long time. My original feeling as a DM was by the end of this story they'll feel heroic, and I realized that like after I think it was like 12 or something sessions where you guys had got rid of the red brands and you were taking care of Glassstaff, there was a point where you should feel heroic, and that moment never happened. And so when you guys were coming back to Phandalin, there was two things I wanted you to feel, which was, fuck, we messed up, we didn't deal with Glassstaff properly. Which was when you guys came back and there was a big bonfire with bodies being thrown onto it, right? I wanted you guys to feel like, oh my God, we didn't deal with it properly. But then, oh, it's a big fake out. You guys are heroes. This is a celebration of your story. So it was like, I wanted you to feel these two things. Also because I also wanted to hint at the fact that you had fucked up and that you'd left Glassstaff with someone who couldn't have been fully trusted.
That was so good, by the way.
Yeah. But again, that was something I pained myself over that. Like, you guys had gone away for 2 sessions, and I was like, all right, they're coming back to Phandalin. I need to think about all of the things that they've suggested to people in regards to maybe the barman should be looking after this town. Did we leave the guy Glassstaff with the right person? What would they have been doing over the last 2 days since you've left, knowing that the heroes are going to be back any moment now? And like trying to build up, like, what is that little village going to look like when you get back? That consumed my thoughts and like my, lying in bed thinking about it for like ages, like days and days. But that's the part when I can see it really well. Those are the parts that I think flow really nicely for me, and it can sort of get you guys caught up in it. Because I even had to think, like, I know Loris is just going to run in and attack someone. Or Loris and Sig was my thought, was those two are just going to run in. And I needed to make sure that a reveal was happening before you had a chance to actually, like, just cast a spell and fuck everyone up. All these villagers. So, yeah, it was really interesting. It was fun to DM and just fun to listen to play out as well. Yeah, it was cool. There was a highlighted comment in our chat, which I thought was really cool.
That was very touching.
The Foolish Fool, who's subscribed earlier, the one that said that he's stoked to have caught us live, said he's watched quite a lot of D&D groups, but I almost never stick around. The only 2 I keep up with now is ours and Critical Role, because it feels so casual but yet so professional, and it's taken very seriously, but it's also extremely fun and whimsical. That's how I feel anyway. I think you're doing an incredibly good job at trying to guide these lunatics. So thank you. That's such a nice thing. There's been a couple of people that have said they watch either us or Critical Role, or they've stopped watching fucking Critical Role but continue to watch us. I find that so mind-blowing, but it's so nice to hear.
That's huge, given them and us and the vast comparison of whatever goes into theirs and ours.
But it is something that I think all of us are pretty passionate about. We're all passionate about different aspects of playing this, and we like the group that we're playing with as well. We enjoy catching up every Monday.
I think that's the most important thing, is just having people who gel.
Yeah.
Because the other game I was in, it was just like various levels of actually caring about the game. So you automatically have some players who are just kind of sitting there, just like, oh, I guess I'm kind of playing, but I'm kind of just sitting on the couch eating snacks. And
when it's my
people
turn,
are
I'll pay attention.
oh, I've really had fun designing this character and I want to see how they go in the world. And then the DM who's got like some insane thing that he's trying to pigeonhole everyone. It just did not mesh. It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to DM, and obviously as a DM, generally you're the one that picks who's going to play. You almost need to, like, part of your first and foremost job is to try and pick a group that isn't going to clash. Like, you're actually going to have to pick a group of people that are going to want to work together, because at the end of the day, they have to work together to make it work for everyone. And that's not just as a party, but it's sort of, you know, you've got to mesh.
And I think as a player as well, you have to decide if that DM is like, if I would have said there were red flags from the beginning, looking back, then I would have been like, actually, this is a bit much.
So it's really interesting. So when we lost Reese was wanting to step back. I was like, okay, we need to find someone else to. I think we've got a good number of players, and I'd like to keep that number alive. And going to this in-person shot was where I met Adam. Instantly, his DMing style made me realize he'd be a great player. And I knew he would have been instantly a great fit. So it was kind of like, I need to find a way to get him on board. But he was like, I don't know, why would I commit every Monday? I don't know how good you are at DMing. There's no way I could promise you that I will stick around past like a few sessions. So that was really interesting. And that's why we had like that Call of Cthulhu. That was one of the reasons we had the Call of Cthulhu before we jumped into Curse of Strahd, was so that he could see what goes into what we do and see if he could buy into it. And that was 2 weeks of playing and 1 week of just chatting about Call of Cthulhu. And then he was just like, I'm in. I can give you every Monday. There's like there's 2 Mondays in the near future that I can't be in. This was what he told me about this Monday, like back in March. So, he was like, I'm in. And that was so good. And he's been such a great fit. But it would have been, if he had said no, I don't know how I would have gotten someone else. I would not have just put out a call on Twitter, hey, who wants to join in? I'd need to know that they would be a good fit. Because we've got a very, very specific dynamic, and we've got a very specific sense of humor, and we needed to find someone who could get into that and understand that and flow with that. And Adam does a great job of doing that.
I just wanted to say I think it's very important as a player to not feel obligated to stick around in a game that you have decided is not for you. I regret just not saying, look, you said it was a one shot, I came to a one shot. Just say my character puffed into smoke by a wizard. It's fantasy. You can literally do anything.
Yeah.
Or you could just say they just walked away, like whatever. I should have just said, like, value your time and value your experience over what people try to rope you in. And if you find, and that's why the session 0 is important. If you go, I don't want to have these themes and that, and then they put them in, you just go, okay, well, I said that, and I'm leaving now because this is a hobby and it's fun.
Yeah.
So you just leave. You're allowed to leave if it's not fun.
Your character can die at any point if you ever want to leave this campaign. Like Gino's character just got thrown out into the middle of the ocean by a giant, and we couldn't get to him, and he drowned. And we're just like, "What? The character died!" And then John was like, "Yeah, it's Gino's last session, so we wanted to."
It's like,
fuck, because we thought we could save him, and we just couldn't. And
because we'd saved everyone else, and then John throws this out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Gino's gone."
I'm so glad we didn't know that was coming. Like we thought there was a chance to save him.
Kind of like, can I just tie these two things together? Because I feel like I wanted you to feel a certain way when that happened, and like what I was talking about before, I wanted that to feel like something that you could potentially prevent, but then you didn't. And then your characters would be affected by that, right? So it's about making use of those things and thinking in advance. Like, I want my players to feel heroic or helpless or whatever.
Yeah, that made me like, that was my first moment of like helplessness, and we'd been playing for a little while, but like I remember he got turfed out into the ocean, right? And I think one of our characters was like swimming out there to go get him, and we could only travel a certain amount of distance, and then he had like a death saving roll and failed, and we're like, okay, shit, we still got to, we can still do this. And like we swam out to try and get him a bit more, and we got hold of him, and then he got another death saving throw, and I think he succeeded on that one. And then on the way back, he rolled another death fail, and then we got him up onto the pier, and we were about to do something. It was like, it's not your turn, it's his last roll, and that was it. He was dead, and we're just like, we had him. We'd gone out, we got him, we had him on the pier waiting to be, and he died. And it was so. Like that moment, I will never forget that moment. There are parts of Storm King's Thunder that I've forgotten. I will never forget that moment because it was so well done.
Also,
that and the zoo escapade, of course.
He was so, he's like amazing. Maybe we can get Gino to guest star at some point.
Yeah.
But he's so good at having these moments, and he's like, I think about like. He was helping defend Winterfell, Winterhold, and he crit failed, and somehow that meant that a frost giant burst into flames, and it was just like,
that was a crossbow moment.
That was so funny.
That was a crossbow moment.
This was lit the crossbow and it failed miserably.
Like, this is the first time we've ever met his character. We're in this massive fight on the walls of this big frozen city with these frost giants all around us, on the other side of the wall. And this half orc, I think, came running up this spire next to us. Is like this big kind of cocky show off of, I'm here to save the day. And he lights the bolt on like a torch on the thing, takes aim and rolls a crit fail, and the whole crossbow goes up, and he no longer has a crossbow. Like, that was it. He lost his crossbow.
That was it. First time he used it.
Hilarious for the intro of this character. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was brilliant. So I think from memory it was like a crit fail for his shot. And then maybe even a crit success for throwing a flaming crossbow at a frost giant or something like that. But he just creates these really memorable moments. As a player. Yeah,
that's cool. Well, I think we probably called it there. It's getting pretty late now for us. For some of these people, I mean, it's like sunshine.
Some of them haven't slept. Now. Like the sun is rising in America right now.
Sorrow's Tale, has sort of stayed up through a lot of the night to just listen to us Kiwis talk about D&D. So I hope you've enjoyed it, Sorrow's Tale. So thanks for being so active in the chat as well as everybody else as well. You guys have been fantastic chat today. The one thing that I always get a little upset with is that we don't get many opportunities to talk to the chat because we're doing the podcast at the same time, so we can't have the podcast be interrupted with banter with the chat. So we have like the chat at the start of the session, we have chat in the middle of the session at the end. But I do love this. I love being able to chat, and I think it definitely helps them feel a bit more part of what we're doing as well. So maybe we just need to make sure that every, 2 months or something, we have one of these sessions and just catch up with you guys and chat about some of the stuff that we've been doing. Might be fun. Thoughts?
I agree.
Yeah? Cool.
Share some love with the fans because, this is part of the reason why we do it.
Yeah. The other is the cold hard cash of your subscriptions. No kidding.
I remember when we first started with the whole subscription thing and the gifting thing. You were so agonized over that, and now you're just like, yeah, man, because we're doing it for the cash.
Well, it's
no, so not.
We're not doing it for even.
We don't even cover the cost of all the equipment we've bought.
No, we haven't covered the cost of everything yet.
We should do a calculation of.
I have an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay,
God, really?
Can you post in the Discord wages per person per hour?
Yeah, I could do that, to be honest. Yeah,
because I think that would be great. I think that would really shed a light on just how hard we are working.
Yeah, especially when you take into consideration costume building and Snapchat.
Your money,
all of that.
Your money,
your hourly rate.
Yeah, I remember the first time I was like, people were saying you have to ask people to subscribe. It's like that sucks. I'm not going to do that. We're just playing D&D for crying out loud. But then it's like literally everybody on Twitch. It's what happens on Twitch.
You're allowed to ask.
You
No
don't
one's
have to
mad
do
about
it, but we'll ban you if you don't. No. But anyway, thanks. We've had a lot of really awesome support tonight. Some nice new subscribers and new followers. If you've been watching and just lurking, thank you. Thank you for just chilling out and listening to us talk. Give us a follow though. We do like the follows. They cost you nothing.
I want to know what people found the most interesting discussion out of all of this, because we
All right,
went
we've got
through
5
a
more
lot
minutes.
of different modes.
5 minute wrap up then. 5 minute wrap up with the chat can tell us what they enjoyed. Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
What did we cover? What were the different
So much.
subjects we covered? Roasting different spells, so that's like mechanical stuff.
Big food.
Big food.
Big food.
No, I don't
Big
want to talk
food.
about big food anymore. That crushed me. Okay.
Fake
No.
big food.
Fake big
Reagan's
food.
developed a phobia. What's the
I'm
phobia?
not going to trust anyone again. I'll just be like, that's fake. It's fake. That can't be a massive.
Hurt too
Okay.
many times.
Anyway, we have to cover the rest of the topics.
So
Min-maxing.
mechanical stuff.
Min-maxing
And roleplay.
And-
Roleplay versus min-max.
and roleplay. Yeah.
And explaining the rules of some of the rules of Call of Cthulhu and comparing them to D&D. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
and then just randomly just talking about our experiences that we've had in real life with
In
different
person
games.
versus online.
Adam's
The
comedy
rabbits have
gig.
had 2 votes already.
What has rabbits?
The rabbits, yeah,
The
they've got
rabbits.
2.
Okay, that's fair.
The rabbits had an epic beef at one point.
Yeah.
I decided the white one's called Mochi, and apparently he's had it up to here with being humped on the face.
Yeah, that was the
I
final
can,
straw.
I can understand that. Being humped on the face unexpectedly would be quite disturbing.
I know.
I thought you were going to
it's
give
not
us some.
nice.
Totally
wise
different if you're
words.
expecting it.
Yeah.
You're
If it's
expecting it.
consensual, it's
If
fine.
you know, if there's consent, it's all good, right?
Mm.
It's if you're not expecting it and it's someone's just jumped on your face,
Not
I
good.
could see that being quite disturbing,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it was a
Okay.
fairy rabbit.
Anyway, what else did we talk about?
And then we talked about like what we learned about DMing and stuff like that, I guess.
We learned
Apparently.
John's a bad DM.
No,
No,
not at all.
we learned that
Jake.
John was a bad DM and then learned from it and came back a better DM.
And I
have
roasted-
massive appreciation for what you did now that I understand what goes into it.
I wanted
Man.
to say I was roasting that bad DM, but I'm sure the first time I DM, it'll be abysmal. So
Yeah, just don't do homework.
just a note, I'm not going to be up on my high horse being like, I will never make a mistake as a DM.
Just don't do
The,
homework.
Yeah.
the great,
That's all I
the
can
Never-
great
never-
thing is
never
that you
been-
have that to learn from.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's
never
the
have
blessing.
been. I've never been a DM, and I don't think I'd be a very good one.
I was so
Just by the-
terrified because Joe.
Just by the way I know I play, I just know that I'd be out to kill you all so quickly. Like I just instinctively I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
The
The first
competitive
battle,
streak.
I'd be all out to fuck you all up completely, and there'd be no way you'd be able to stop me.
yeah, that's true. That is true.
And I would apologize for it at the end of it, but I'd be like, I so beat you.
Yeah, I was terrified because I had to at least be as good as John. That was what I like, and that I was terrified. I was like, that was so damn hard to get that.
I'm so
So
glad
damn
you are
hard.
way better.
It's not a competition.
It's not at all competition. Like I still
Hey,
think
it is from a Maxer, right?
Yeah.
That's
you
fair.
realize that the next time John DMs, he's going to have to outdo everything you have done.
Hey, I'm
Why
happy
do you think I don't DM anymore?
I'm happy to have a go as another player at some point. That's for sure. That's what I
Having
was-
been DM'd by both of you,
it's
and
not a
like you
competition.
both. No, it's not a competition. You both have different styles, and
Yeah.
like it's done completely differently. But you're both exceptional storytellers.
Yeah.
Like you create the world
Aw,
so
shut
well.
up.
It's
Thanks,
brilliant.
man. Thanks.
I've enjoyed the last 4 years. Have been amazingly fun.
Oh, that's good, man. That's really good.
Right.
Pericles has just come in right at the end of the session. I don't know if you've been just
Go!
chilling out, but thank you for popping in. But yeah, so it seems like rabbits won the won the topic there. Random says he liked the final DMing chat and the learnings. I thought that was a good chat as well. You could almost cut that and put that somewhere. If I can't know. In your
Would you
arsehole.
say you could clip it?
You could probably clip that. Or highlight it
Yeah,
or something. We can
highlight
turn it
it.
into a highlight and put it somewhere. The whole thing will go up on YouTube anyway. Maybe I'll break it into chapters.
I don't know how Twitch works.
That's okay. You're not the one that has to deal with Twitch. It's okay. Anyway, thank you everybody, and a massive, a big juicy to all the subscribers that have come along tonight. Give us a follow if you haven't already. Come and stop by our Discord. If you type !Discord, it'll give you a link and you can come say hi. Chat to us about all things D&D and all things not D&D. Buy our shirts, which Dave has on. There's a !Merch. We'll give you a link to where you can buy that amazing shirt designed by this amazing person. And that's us. Find all of our previous sessions on YouTube, and thanks to Random Origins for moderating, being an amazing moderator for us. Joe?
I think my ride's here. Oh. All right, guys, I'm off.
Out.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. And we'll be back with Curse of Strahd, not Call of Cthulhu, Curse of Strahd next Monday, with the crew having made it to Vallaki. So we will see you guys at the same time next time. Thank you so much for stopping by. See ya.
Bye.